Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to the Sean O'Connell Show on ESPN 792.1 FM. Proud part of Utah's ESPN radio network, and a show that is brought to you today and every day by our friends over at Big Willie's. Big Willie's is Salt Lake City's sports bar. 1717 South Main, incredible food, lunch specials that happen every single day. Just tell them that OC sent you. They've got the rare bourbons. They've got partnerships with Outlaw Distillery. They've got things you can't get anywhere else if you're a bourbanophile. And even if you're just someone who wants to go in, watch a game, watch SportsCenter, watch the Pat McAfee show, listen to me, whatever, you just want somewhere cool to hang out, Big Willie's will hook you up. Big UFC pay-per-view coming this weekend. Guess where the perfect place to watch that is? 1717 South Main. They'll have a special menu. They'll have drink specials, food specials. And if you tell them that OC sent you, they will make sure they get you the best table and the best spot to view those fights. It is a big weekend for a lot of different reasons. The NFL is getting more serious, right? The wheat separating itself from the chaff, so to speak, in the playoff picture taking shape. Utah Jazz, Utah Mammoth, BYU in action in what is a very winnable bounce-back spot after they got embarrassed a little bit by Texas Tech. And, of course, most importantly, your University of Utah football team coming off a bye, taking on a vulnerable Baylor Bears squad that should present an opportunity for Utah to further bolster its resume with the College Football Playoff Committee and further bolster its reputation through analytics. Ooh, I don't use that word very often. But through all the metrics, this Utah football team is poised, I think, for a nice little stretch run. But you got to go out and do it. There's absolutely no reason why against the Baylor Bears you should not look like a world-beating squad. You match up well. It's kind of like we talked about with the Cincinnati game when it was a Friday in the Cincinnati case. Today is, unfortunately, my Friday. I got to be out tomorrow for a little PFL situation again. The matchups in college football are the most important things. And Baylor does not have what it takes, in my opinion, to threaten this Utah team in a way that, as long as you show up and you play the way you're supposed to play and you don't let the distraction of being in Chip and Joanna Gaines's backyard affect you. I don't know. There's probably a lot of guys on this team who are big fixer-upper fans. They just shouldn't be able to touch you. And I know I run the risk of sounding dismissive or arrogant or in some way overzealous about what Utah football has showed us in these last couple of weeks. But your offense is better than their offense. Your defense is significantly better than their defense. If there's some kind of an equalizer for them, it's the special team situation. But that's only we talked about. We ranted about this earlier in the week. Paying attention to special teams in the kicking game is obviously massively important, but it's only the 1/3 of the game that is actually represented by like 6% of the game. In any case, from a number standpoint, from a eye test standpoint, from a what you know about the storylines right now in college football standpoint, Utah should be at a pretty significant advantage here. Now, Baylor is not awful in the passing game especially. In fact, they're the number one passing offense in this conference. 26 touchdowns through the air. They've only been intercepted 7 times. The 26-7 is a pretty solid ratio. I've talked about it, 312 yards. It's actually closer to 313 through the air every game. But if that's your strength, right, if that's Baylor's strength, I should say, then the worst team, the worst matchup for you, the group that you would like to avoid on your schedule if you could, is Utah. Because Utah is the best pass defense in this Big 12 conference. And the X factor here, if you want to call it that, is the fact that any offense that relies heavily on dropping back and throwing the ball around the yard exposes itself to difficulties in protection against teams with potent pass rushes or defensive coordinators who like to bring pressure or whatever else. Utah checks the boxes for Baylor's nightmares. Long athletic corners that can make our guys, that could actually man up on our guys. All right, they got a couple of those. And shout out to Sharif Shaw. Like I said a couple of weeks ago, I think this is maybe the best year of coaching that we've seen from him. Oh, man, do they have one or two guys that we really got to account for in the blocking scheme? Nope, sorry, Baylor offensive line coach. Utah doesn't have one or two guys that you have to account for in the blocking scheme. They've got 5 or 6 guys that you got to account for in the blocking scheme. And on any given play, in any given snap, Morgan Scalley might make that 7 or 8 guys that you got to worry about, because there's plenty of times, especially if Utah defense wins on 1st and 2nd down, where it's 3rd and 13, it's 3rd and 9, it's 3rd and 10, whatever, and it's an obvious passing down, and now Jackson Benny's coming. Cotton is coming. Lander Barton is going to show his face in your backfield. Oh, and by the way, we've replaced the defensive line package to be 4 defensive ends, to be 4 pass rushing specialists. Holtzclaw is now playing defensive tackle. Paul Fitzgerald is in there, and they're running a stunt in the middle, trying to create a speed and agility advantage over your center and guards. It's like I said after week 1. I've returned to the point where I am not just drinking the Kool-Aid. I am the 9-year-old kid on the corner of your neighborhood street who's selling the Kool-Aid, who is mixing it up in that jar, that jug that never quite gets clean. You pull it out of the bottom drawer in the kitchen, and it's like, oh, what was in this last? I can still kind of smell it. And I just dump in 12 Kool-Aid packets, and then I pour in a pound of sugar, and I get water from the hose, and I mix that bad boy up. And I go out on the street corner, I set up a little folding table, and I try to sell it to you for 50 cents a cup, which is drastically overpriced. But if you're a good neighbor, you're still going to stop. You're still going to give me 50 cents, or I guess now you probably have to Venmo those dang kids, and you're going to participate in one of the rites of passage. I'm back on that level of hype for this Utah football team, because despite the warts that they showed against Texas Tech, and despite the painfully fixable things that happened against BYU, your only 2 losses of the year, you look at what we've seen against Colorado and then Cincinnati, and this is a team that against inferior competition. Now, when you're up against someone who's got what you've got, like BYU does and like Texas Tech does, and it's a heavyweight fight and you're slugging it out, it's a bummer that you didn't come out with a win even, right? You're 0-2 against your equals, or even maybe in Texas Tech's case, your betters. But against inferior competition this year, Utah does what excellent teams are supposed to do. You dog walk that inferior competition. You embarrass them. You make them look like exactly what they are, lesser than. It's one of the great characteristics of teams that you see in the top 10, top 15, and as you get later in the season, it's really only the top 10 teams in college football. You start looking at it and going, man, how's Ohio State's resume look? Well, against inferior teams, they're making people look bad. James, you probably know this. How many one-score games has Ohio State, the number 1 team in the country, played this year?
I think it's just Texas.
It's just Texas. They beat Texas, who was, again, the preseason number 1. And
has an incredible defense. The defense has not been the reason why Texas has fallen off there. It's been Arch Manning not being quite ready for the moment. He's gotten better throughout the season, though. Anyway, so that's part of the reason why. The other part of the reason is Julian Sayin was basically Arch Manning for Ohio State, and he's had to ramp up just like Arch has to be better at offense. So that's the one score game for those reasons. The rest of them, they've been dominant in every game, similar to Utah, except that Utah has had those two losses to Texas-like opponents.
Ohio State 14-7 over Texas, and everyone else they've just kind of demolished. They've kind of smashed. Indiana has 3 one-score games on the resume, so they're maybe a little bit more realistic of a comp. Texas A&M, the number 3 team in the country, has 2 one-score games on the year. Now, these are undefeated teams, right? So I'm not saying Utah is in their neighborhood because these teams have not only won every game, but they've been dominant, especially against inferior opposition. Texas A&M beat Notre Dame by a point. Texas A&M beat Auburn by 6 points. Oh, excuse me, they've got 3. And they beat Arkansas. But these are all wins, right? Against even quality competition like LSU, Texas A&M's found ways to pull away. When you're talking about one of the measuring sticks of, hey, is this team really a great team? In every sport should be, well, how do they look when it's easy to fall asleep? How do they look when you could be kind of like, I don't have to go so hard this week? What do those games look like? We've seen it in the past, right? Where even really good Utah football teams going up against like the kind of mediocre Oregon State teams or Arizona teams of the Pac-12 era would not show up one day, and suddenly you're fighting and clawing and overtiming your way either to a victory or, heaven forbid, you're stubbing your toe in an unnecessary and unacceptable way in a loss. It's not only Utah, obviously. It's one of the reasons, by the way, why people are not big believers in BYU, but why a couple years ago there were plenty of people who all the way up until the national championship game were not big believers in the University of Washington, coached by Kalen DeBoer. Because part of the eyeball test, part of the do you check every box that I need to call you a great team, part of that is when you go up against a 500 squad or a sub-500 squad or a team that's 6-3 and doesn't have the athletes that you have, even if they're overachievers, you make them look bad. Sportsmanship, unfortunately, at this point, be damned. That's what Utah's got to do against Baylor this weekend in Waco. You've got to make a bunch of people in Texas think that, man, I don't like folks from the state of Utah. This Kyle Whittingham guy that everyone talks about as being like a pretty, old school, decent cat, he was still passing the ball when they were up 3 scores on us with 6 minutes left in the game. Unfortunately, you kind of have to do it that way, and you are more than capable of it. If you're a University of Utah football team heading out of a bye week, getting, as far as we know, as healthy as you can reasonably expect to be this far into a season, with a home stretch of 3 very, very winnable games, you're going to be favored in all of them. You're a bad matchup for Baylor if you show up and you be yourself. There's just no other way to put it, really. What does it actually look like? Well, my hope is what it looks like is the pass rush that didn't have a ton of opportunities against Cincinnati and found a lot of ways to cause problem against Colorado. I hope it looks a lot more like that Colorado game, because Sawyer Robertson is a little bit more traditional in the sense that he will drop back, he'll hold on to the ball, he will not try to do what Sorsby did, or he's just offloading that thing instantaneously, or he's pulling it down and running it. Baylor is 7th in the conference right now, tied for 7th in the conference, I should say, in sacks allowed. Cincinnati, by the way, still, and this is just as much a Sorsby thing as it's an offensive line thing. We've seen it now. You've watched it firsthand. Cincinnati has still only given up 2 sacks on the year. 2 sacks. All year long, surrendered by Cincinnati. Utah's number 2 in the conference. 7 surrendered. Kansas State is 3rd. BYU is 4th. I don't need to remind you, or I don't need to point out, but I'm going to because I like to draw attention to the obvious, that every single one of those schools at the top has something in common. Quarterbacks that have a natural tendency for elusiveness and running ability. Cincinnati's guy is about 45 pounds heavier than your guy, maybe 40. Devin Dampier, obviously, when he's healthy, has shown us many, many times exactly what you saw on tape but at his previous stop in New Mexico. The dude just has that spidey sense, right? There's been a couple of games where the spidey sense has been hampered by a kind of rhino leg, and he hasn't been as quick. And then, of course, Kansas State. When Avery Johnson's not breaking up fights between his own brother and his own dad, he's pretty dang good running the ball around. Baylor doesn't have quite that. They've surrendered 16 sacks so far on the year. If Utah comes away with fewer than 4, I will be shocked and dismayed. I think that 4 is the bare minimum. If I was doing over-unders today for how this game should play out and what Utah needs to do in a game against Baylor, that's where I would set that number. 3.5. You got to have more. And you know what? 4.5 is probably where I'm really feeling, if I'm not trying to be excessively reasonable. We are to a point in the world of college football now where you kind of have to stop being decent about your own standing and about where your opponents are. You have to go into these games, these final 3 games, with the mentality that, like, man, the goals that I have set out for myself are only attainable if not only do I win, but I demolish. It's like a 3-point win against Baylor, a 6-point win against Baylor is going to start to cast a little bit of doubt, which sucks, and it's probably unreasonable, but start to cast a little bit of doubt in 1 or 2 minds in that college football playoff committees in that room. If you follow that up with a 4-point win against Kansas State, now half the room is starting to wonder, are they as good as we thought they were? You got to go to overtime against Kansas? Your ticket is not booked. Unless, of course, insanity ensues ahead of you and BYU loses 2 games and Cincinnati somehow loses everything outside of BYU. Whatever. You got to kind of be unreasonable. And by the way, one of the biggest splash stories of the week came down really last night. I don't know how it'll – I genuinely don't know how it will affect performance on the field because it shouldn't. These things should be insulated from one another, but in reality, they're probably not. Mack Rhoades is the athletic director at Baylor University. He is the chairman of the College Football Playoff Committee. He is the guy that stands up after they make their announcements, and he answers the questions. He is right now, as of today, on leave, quote unquote, for personal reasons from Baylor University after a September 20th on-field incident.
Yeah, you know the personal reasons, right?
Yeah, this is Baylor trying to allow him to save face.
Oh man, personal reasons.
This is a very, very poorly veiled suspension where Mack Rhoades, in front of many, many witnesses, was confrontational with an assistant coach and apparently got physical with this assistant coach, not in like a I'm fighting you way, but like grabbed him in a way that was like,
wasn't it hands near the neck or something?
Yeah,
on the
way
upper
that I
body
read it,
somewhere?
it sounds like he had grabbed his arm and grabbed like kind of up around his neck, maybe the back of his neck.
Not like choking him or trying to choke him out, but like he put his hands up there.
But look, this is
Still
there
a bad
things,
look.
There are grown man things you're not allowed to do.
No.
Right?
Especially with cameras on you.
Especially with like this assistant coach's family standing right there. Right?
Cameras on you, the eyes of
And by the way, it
50,000
apparently
people
started with some kind of problem that Mack Rhoades may have had over Michael Trigg, who is a former USC tight end who has transferred to Baylor.
Okay. I was going to say, is that the assistant coach? No, that's the
Michael
tight
Trigg
end.
is a player who was wearing, like, Baylor's green and yellow.
Yeah.
And white, obviously.
Well, they've got that. What's the color of gray that they have too? That they made those awful uniforms with.
And they sometimes go with the like chrome gold helmet, which is beautiful actually.
Yeah,
but
gold.
In any case, apparently Michael Trigg is wearing like a yellow Under Armour shirt.
Okay.
Like a long sleeve. That's either, I think it was trying to cover up that he was wearing a shoulder brace. He was just trying to draw less attention to the shoulder brace.
I see. It's like the Allen Iverson arm sleeve to cover the tattoo.
And the way I read it, it seemed like he didn't like this athletic director, right? Talk about micromanaging, didn't like what he was wearing. Like, why are you wearing that shirt?
Baylor? It's not that Baylor's not an Under Armour school, right? That's not the problem, is it?
I mean, look, Nike makes.
All right, so you're saying that as the. Not as
the material.
That was the brand. That was the type of shirt. Gotcha. I'm with you now.
Like whether it's Russell Athletic or what, like who cares?
Well, I would just say it's a little bit valid for him to be upset if the brand of if they're a Nike school and the different brand is showing. But other than that,
the case.
Yeah, that was not the case.
That's not what this dispute was about. It was. He didn't like, for whatever reason, what are you wearing that shirt for?
Yeah.
And I think that's where the assistant coach gets involved.
Jeez.
Like, hey, athletic director,
stay away from my player. Stay away from my player while we're in the game.
My guy's
here.
getting ready. This is pregame warm-ups.
I'll handle this.
Which, by the way, is the incredibly that is a wholly appropriate response, even to someone who is like 4 levels higher than you on the food chain at Baylor.
Absolutely.
If your athletic director comes down, and I know people. Right? I know people are like, whoa, what are you saying here? If your athletic director comes down and involves him in a game day situation like that, he's coloring outside the lines.
Yep. And anyone who might be thinking of something, a certain other situation, we say that about that. Look, too.
We fully acknowledge that that was outside the lines, and obviously the conference thought so, right?
Yeah.
But so this guy is the most visible athletic director in the conference. He is the chair of the College Football Playoff Committee. Mack Rhoades, they do an investigation at Baylor. They get the fact-finding done. They talk to the witnesses. They talk to the assistant coach. They talk to Trigg. They talk to the family. They talk to players that were around. And Mack Rhoades is allowed to take a leave of absence for personal reasons.
Allowed to call it personal reasons.
We will not make further comment. Dave Aranda asked about it. That's an HR thing. I am not going to talk about it. Will not affect us.
And he said it, no doubt, as calmly as any human can say it, because he just has that way about him. Yeah.
Dave Aranda, if he wasn't a college football coach, would be a Buddhist monk. He is just like,
or some kind of pastor.
He is a steady Eddie, and like that's great. But this is all like this is the backdrop where now every player of any kind of import and every coach, more importantly, at Baylor is being asked things about this. Hey, what's your relationship with Mack Rhoades? They're getting text messages in their phone. What's his problem? And I will say this, all right? Mack Rhoades, every other sports information person, every other athletic director, associate athletic director, every other member of the brass on any university campus, your student athletes and your coaches need you, right? Your job is incredibly important. They need you to be untouchable. They need you to be infallible. They need you to be someone who always has the right answer and always portrays the right look. That is a desperate need in an athletic department because of how tiny the margin for error is right now. What this can do and might do for Baylor, right? They've got a bunch of big money donors. There's a lot of money at Baylor, like there's a lot of money at Texas Tech, and they come from the same industries in a lot of cases. You got a bunch of Dr. Pepper money down there, whatever.
Hey, they got the Magnolia fixer-upper money, too, with the gains.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know, Chip and Joanna, I make jokes about them all the time because they're like the celebrity boosters, but they are boosters.
He was, I think Chip was the celebrity guest picker the last time they were at game day was at Baylor. I love me some
Chip and I love me some Joanna, so I'm fully on board with all that, right? But you're, as a student athlete, as a coach, as a ticket seller, as especially someone working in the GM / collective role.
Yeah.
You need your athletic director to be somebody that nobody looks at. Not one person in your fan base, or more importantly in your booster base, looks at and goes, what the hell is this guy doing?
Yeah.
You desperately need that. There is no wiggle room right now. Because if you are one booster away, which means one donation away, which means one NIL deal away from being a 500 team in the Big 12 Conference, and that booster, that Dr. Pepper executive, that Chip or Joanna Gaines goes, you're putting your hands on assistant coaches? You're yelling at kids over the shirts that they're wearing? I'm not supporting this anymore. I can't get behind this. Like, no university, especially on the Baylor level, can afford this right now. Not one. There's not one out there that is looking in at the blue blood picture and can afford any minor scandal, any minor infraction, any minor questioning of leadership. You can't afford it. So poor Dave Aranda has to answer questions for his boss, who is the most visible athletic director in the conference right now. It's why when Kyle Whittingham was asked about comments made that Mark Harlan ended up being penalized for, I don't want to bring up old stuff from last year, but you guys all know what I'm referencing. It's why Kyle Whittingham's response was exceedingly correct. He said, ask him. I'm not accountable for it. These coaches can't be asked, like,
yeah.
And the same way players should never be asked, like, hey, your head coach went out there and did some crazy stuff. What do you think? I don't know. He's higher on the food chain than me, man. Ask him.
Ask the coach. And Dave Aranda also had a great response saying, hey, that's an HR thing.
It's above my pay grade. That's an HR thing. But you know how bad that sucks when they've got a big game this week? And it sucks, by the way, for the Big 12 Conference.
It does.
In a way that it affects Utah. It affects BYU.
Is he going to be allowed to chair the CFP the rest of the season?
Absolutely
Probably not.
There's no chance.
Not while his own school has put him on administrative leave. Absolutely.
There's no bleeping way that the College Football Playoff Committee is going to be like, yes, go be our spokesperson.
Yeah, there's no way. So they're gonna do the SEC AD that's on the committee or something instead. Like this is a problem for the Big 12 the rest of the year, especially when you have one team that's securely in the playoff and two that are on the bubble.
And I don't want to look.
Not that the chair of the committee is trying to sway people for their own conference. That's not what they're supposed to do.
They're supposed to recuse themselves from conversations about their own schools, but I don't think about their own conference schools.
But they can have an impact, even if they're being partial and professional. They can have an impact on that. They can give some insight that the other ADs don't have.
And if you don't think that there's like a spite factor to this for the College Football Playoff Committee, this moron embarrassed all of us. So, you know what? How do we punish him?
We can't kick Texas Tech out, but you know what? We just won't really entertain. We won't entertain.
12 folks can't handle the spotlight.
Yeah, we just won't entertain Utah and BYU. How about that?
Maybe these podunk flyover conference type people can't handle the pressure of being in a situation like this. And guess what? If you're in any kind of like shake hands, kiss babies, leadership, administrative role, Don't drink at the tailgate or the halftime anything or the whatever. Don't do it. Because Mac Rhodes, there's absolutely no way you can explain that behavior other than, I probably got a little loose. Sorry. Don't do it. You're working, dog. All right. Enough of my rant. Sean O'Connell Show continues with Gordy Chiesa, our resident NBA guru, swings by. We'll talk Utah Jazz and the rest of the stuff around the association. You know Gordy and I love talking about Victor Wembanyama. Well, Wembanyama goes off, and guess what? So does his former Rookie of the Year teammate. The Spurs are a problem, ladies and gentlemen. It's ESPN 700, 92.1 FM. have been correctly chastised by 9653 on the text line. Mark Harlan is the nominee from the Big 12 to replace Mack Rhoades on the College Football Playoff Committee, which makes a heck of a lot of sense. He's been in that capacity before, and obviously he's highly thought of, and he's well tenured and things like that. Thank you, 9653. You don't have to be so mean about it next time. Just kidding. We deserve that. In any case, moving on to a little NBA basketball with our good friend and resident NBA guru, Gordy Chiesa, who swings by a couple times a week to talk about the association. Gordy, welcome. How are you, sir?
Sean, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Look, I know I should stay as local as possible, but Victor Wembanyama, Stefan Castle, this is a problem for the rest of the league.
Very much. You mentioned two young guys that are absolutely sensational performers, and in Wembanyama, we've never seen a guy like him. To be that tall, that skilled in an all-around game, and he does play hard. And then Stephen Castle, the fourth pick of the draft 2 years ago, he's making that maturation from being a scoring guard into a guard. And last night's game, and they both had a triple-double, which is unbelievable hard to do. And unfortunately, from the Spurs' point of view, they lost that game because Steph Curry refused to lose. So let's not forget how the brilliance of Steph Curry, besides the emergence of the Spurs, Steph goes to 46 points on the road to knock out the Spurs, and that was the Spurs showing first home loss. Here's quick numbers for Steph Curry. 46 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals that counted the 2 great performances by the Spurs duo.
Gordy, you've been around the NBA for a long time. What was the greatest kind of veteran keeping the young dogs at bay performance that you've ever seen? Because that's effectively what we saw from Steph Curry, right? Like, the obvious changing of the guard that will happen eventually is that Victor Wembanyama, he already is a star, but he will eventually be kind of the face of the league, mega star. Steph Curry has been in that role. And, you know, they're opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of the timing left in their career. But in a case like this one, and we saw it with Kobe, we saw it with Michael, we saw it with guys before them, you know, when you're in your mid to late 30s, you still got enough juice to let these 20-somethings know, not yet, young fella. So what's the best example of that you were around or saw or coached?
Tim Duncan. Yeah, with Tim Duncan, you know, he refused to go away in a great way. Let's not forget, Tim Duncan was the only player in the history of basketball to win championships in different decades. Back in 1999, world champions. The 2010, they won 3 championships. And the 2010 decade, they won another championship. So Duncan is a classic example as Wembanyama takes over now that mantle, even though it's been a few years removed, that Duncan refused to go away.
How long can Steph Curry do it at the clip he's doing it? I mean, we've asked this about LeBron for a couple of years. Steph has that kind of sustainable game with the predicated so much on his shooting, which doesn't go away for a long time. But, you know, it takes some quickness to be able to create your own shot at the very least. How much longer can he do it at this level?
2 more seasons after this. Yeah, he's right now. This is his 17th season in the NBA. I'm saying 2, but it might be 3, only because often a lot of times guys want to play have a 20-year career, and so contractually his contract's only this year and next year. Obviously, they could redo that to say the least. So Steph's under contract through the 26-27 season. So I think that if he's still playing at a high level, which he will, he'll try to get another 2 years, maybe, possibly, Sean, a hometown discount. So Steph Curry's making next season, the 26-27, $52.5 million. And so I'm assuming, again, I'm not being naive, but he would take a slight pay cut, which is all relative speaking, to play for the Warriors again. He said publicly he will never not play for the Warriors. So if he does retire, he'll be a Warrior. So I'm saying 2 more tremendous years. See, Steph Curry is that he plays the game on the ground. So a lot of times people that are elite scoring talents. They play airborne. He's I call it a gravity scorer, where he scores points on the ground with his unbelievable shot making and dribble skills.
Jazz are hosting the Hawks, a 7-5 Atlanta Hawks team that, as you know, I've asked about plenty of times, is the ultimate head scratcher for me. Why that's not one of the great franchises in the NBA. But, you know, they're a quality team this year. What do you expect to see in this matchup?
First, they won 3 games in a row. Last night they blasted the Kings in Sacramento, 133 to 100, and that shows you that their ability to play. Interesting with the Hawks, the road record, Sean, is 5-2. So usually speaking, teams have a much dominant home record. They're the opposite, where they're 5-2 on the road. So they come in Salt Lake City, even though it's a back-to-back, they come with a lot of different energy, and more importantly, besides the energy, they have confidence. And they're led by interesting where Trae Young, their franchise player, is hurt. Now, in some circles, you might say that's bad, but in this situation where slightly addition by subtraction, not based on talent, but just based on overall team goodness and chemistry, him not being there has helped emerge them into a more well-rounded unit. So they've got this guy named Jalen Johnson. So he'll be a tough cover for the Jazz tonight. He's a fifth-year player. He's vastly improved. He'll get some votes to be the most improved player in the NBA. He's averaging 20.5 points per game, 58.6 field goal percentage, 5.5 assists, 8.7 rebounds, and most people don't know who he is. And so he's a young guy via Duke University that's played tremendous for them. The next 2 guys, I'll go through quickly. Former Jazz man. Remember this guy, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who the Jazz had here for 2 years, and 21 through 23. He only played 51 games. He's averaging 17.2 points per game, and he's really a tremendous defensive player. And the last guy, his first-team all-defense, is Dyson Daniels from Australia. And this guy steals the ball. He can defend on off the ball. So he'll be guarding tonight Keontae George, and also be guarding probably a little bit of an Ace Bailey. And so these 3 guys have helped them tremendously, besides Zachary Bichache, who we talked about him, the young Frenchman, who's a tremendous ball skills as far as all-around player, and he's emerging as a force right now. He's averaging 12.9 points per game. So they're a good team. It's going to be a good match for the Jazz. The Jazz, we know recently they just destroyed the Indiana Pacers on Monday night, where from the second the game started, they're ready to go. One note about the Jazz, though. Ace Bailey, age 19 years old, Sean. In the month of November, which has only been 6 games so far, but Ace has really improved just by getting playing time and being slightly more confident. He's averaging 10.2 points per game, 46.9 field goal percentage from the foul line, 90%, 3.8 rebounds, and 22.3 minutes in November. So we're seeing the beginning of Ace Bailey truly, possibly becoming a Jazz cornerstone.
How much different for a young player are, those bench minutes and starting minutes? In a case like, for Ace Bailey, as they play with his role in this team and in this lineup, how significant of a challenge is it to adjust to one or the other when you're already new to the NBA game?
Difficult. So with young players, if you don't start them, then they've got to be in the game with the starting point guard. Because usually speaking, the starting point guard, so right now it'll be Keontae George, is that just generally that they'll feel more comfortable, that there'll be more on-time, on-target passes. Versus the second unit, just generally speaking, the second unit most times is a little bit more offensive-minded and a little bit, let's say, helter-skelter. And so with younger players, they perform better when there's an element of structure, especially on perimeter. Most young big guys is different, where they can battle inside, they can throw some elbows, they can get themselves involved as far as physicality, versus a perimeter guy where there's an element of skills involved, but also the defense is trying to stop you. And so versus inside, well, you can use just the power to try to go over the top of people. So it's important. As I say all the time, is that for young performers, they need somewhat structure on the court. So when they do make shots, it's out of the flow versus only out of a pure talent.
Gordy Chiesa, my guest here on the Sean O'Connell Show. Conversation with Gordy brought to you by Aladdin Industries, your Utah Velux dealer. So, Gordy, you were the most optimistic of all the prognosticators about this Utah Jazz team, and I probably pushed back. Everyone was like, "Whoa, are they really going to be as good as Gordy thinks?" Because a lot of the fan base doesn't even want them to be as good as you think they can be. Now that we have a little bit of a sample size, it seems like you're more correct than the rest of us, which we're not surprised by. But are you confident, or has your expectation changed at all to this point?
No, not at all. Is that the Jazz have some good players? I mean, Larry Marketing should make the All-Star game. Should. If I'm voting for Larry Marketing. And he's averaging 28.5 points per game. And you get the feeling that when he has the ball, the shot always going to go in. And then, again, Isaiah Colley's coming back now. And, last game he gets his 11 assists. So getting back to Ace Bailey, when Colley's in the game, even as a second unit guy, that he's pass happy. And so the Jazz have some good young players and one or two players in their prime. And so other teams, their disarray, the Jazz are trajectory going upward. And I'm not surprised at all. But I do think if the Jazz are going to keep improving, they've got to – there's two things that I'd be still concerned about. They're 28th in the NBA in most turnovers, 16.4 per game. The only two teams worse as far as turnovers are the Hornets and the Wizards. And the Wizards have only won one game this year. And the last part about that is, yes, I'm a three-point shooting advocate. Yes, I am. But the Jazz right now shooting accuracy from three-point range, meaning misfire, they're 28th in the NBA at three-point accuracy. They're only shooting 32.2%. The only two teams that are worse than the Jazz at three-point range are the Mavericks and the Pacers. We saw the Pacers in disarray and the Mavs in disarray. And so those are two areas that the Jazz, if they can improve that, there'll be even more as far as dramatically as far as upgrade. So in Jazz basketball, the future is bright, but there's still so much more work to do.
Gordy, what's your list today?
All right, my list today, Sean, it's about Duke University. Remember now, Quinn Snyder coached the Jazz very well for 8 years here. He's a Dookie, the class of 1989. And so there's a lot of Duke guys in this game tonight. And also, just generally speaking, there's a lot of Duke guys in the NBA. This is our annual list, Sean, of the former Duke players currently in the NBA. There's 25 Dukies that are playing in the NBA as of this morning. Now, I bet you're wondering, Sean, you and James, are they the most in the NBA? They're 25. No, they're not. The most players from an NBA, from a college team presently, University of Kentucky, they have 29. So Kentucky's one and Duke is number two. Here we go. Dukies in the NBA this year as we speak. From the Mavericks, Kyrie Irving, Cooper Flagg, Derek Lively. From the Magic, Paolo Banchero, Wendell Carter, and Tyus Jones. From the Suns, Grayson Allen, Mark Williams, and Carmen Malawach. From the Hornets, Sion James, Con Knipple, and Mason Plumlee. From the Raptors, R.J. Barrett and Brandon Ingram. From the Hawks, pre-mentioned right now, Jalen Johnson, we mentioned earlier, and Luke Kennard. From the Jazz, Kyle Filipowski. From the Wizards, Marvin Bagley. From the 76ers, Jarrett McCain. From the Celtics, injured Jason Tatum. From the Bulls, Trey Jones. From the Pelicans, Zion Williamson. From the Pistons, Wendell Moore Jr. From the Bucks, Gary Trent. And lastly, from the Cavs, Therese Proctor. Quickly, Jazz basketball, Duke connection. Let's not forget Carlos Boozer, presently a Jazz college talent evaluator, two-time All-Star back in 2007-08, an Olympic gold medal winner in 2008 in Beijing, was probably the best Jazz player ever to play for Duke to wear a Jazz uniform. Last point about that. Who are the three best NBA players that play in the NBA career-wise from Duke University. Number 1, best, Jason Tatum. Number 2, Grant Hill. And number 3, Kyrie Irving. Go Dukies.
That is an unbelievable lineup of players from one university. Gordy, how many former Utes in the NBA right now?
Okay. In the NBA right now. All right. Kuzman, that's 1.
Yes.
Brandon Carlson, 2. Help me out. My mind's blank. This is
Jakob Poeltl.
Yeah, Poeltl. Yeah, 3. Excuse me. 3. Jakob Poeltl, who we all like.
Is DeLon Wright still on a roster?
As we speak right now.
Who's not?
DeLon Wright.
He is or is not in the NBA right now?
Is not. No, he's right. He got waived the other day, and so he's looking for a job right now. Yeah, okay. DeLon Wright.
Wow. All right. So 3.
So this shows you how. Hey, making the NBA, it's hard. Making the NFL, it's hard.
Yeah, and then staying there even harder, right?
Hard.
Wow. Gordy, you're the man. I always appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Sean. Peace out. Stay well.
Duke, Kentucky. I mean, some of these blue blood programs that have just become NBA factories. Okay, wait. So we decided it's 3 Utes with DeLon being recently ousted. How many BYU Cougars? We know what they're creating right now. How many BYU Cougars are currently in the NBA on an NBA roster? We'll figure it out. We'll come back with that answer. Also, a junk mail update. Official Utah football email. I'll tell you what it says on ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM. Hot lunch is coming. Hot lunch here on the Sean O'Connell Show. We got some official junk mail. That is company letterhead type email coming from the Utah football program and their head of communications, assistant athletic director for strategic communications is the proper title, Keeler McJunkin. Junk mail. The Utah football offensive
get
line
the title right, OC.
has been recognized as a semifinalist for the Joe Moore Award, presented annually to college football's best offensive front. Let's go, baby! Yeah!
Jeff Schwartz, your compensation is on its way. No,
One of 10 semifinalist
this.
units for the award, which is named after Joe Moore, widely regarded as the best offensive line coach in college football history, and the only major college football award to honor an entire position group or unit. The Joe Moore Award trophy is this 300-pound bronze statue. It is a big thing, especially in the offensive line community, and Utah has played well enough on the offensive front to justify in the minds of this committee some of the hype that they came into the season with. Now, you're one of the final 10, so that's tough. Texas A&M and Vanderbilt are on the list. Cincinnati, who's only given up 2 sacks this year, as we already talked about. Duke, Georgia Tech, Indiana, Iowa. I think Iowa is automatically a top 10 offensive line every single year. I think they're Joe Moore Award semifinalists in perpetuity. I'd love to know how many years they didn't have Iowa on their offensive line semifinalists at least. Michigan, Oregon, and Utah. Guess who won it last year, James?
It was Army, right?
Army.
Yeah. I mean, they had an incredible season last year. They were undefeated at this point. I believe they were still undefeated at this point last season into the November. But yeah, not like anyone in the SEC, not anyone in the Power 4. Army.
I actually love that from the committee because, look, Army is not winning for any other reason than their offensive line is phenomenal. The way that they play football, you have to have an incredible offensive line if you're going to have a good year. So pretty cool that Utah gets at least the recognition to be semifinalist. Spencer Fano's been on semifinalist list now. We talked about John Henry Daly yesterday, and now the entire offensive line unit. And this, by the way, this is an award that Jim Harding wants desperately. Every offensive line coach in the country wants one of these, but Jim Harding is like, this is a box he wants to check in his career the way that Kyle Whittingham wants to say he went to a college football playoff. Keep your fingers crossed that they can finish out strong. And look, to win it, you probably have to be a college football playoff team. You probably have to finish out this year with surrendering no more sacks. Easier said than done. All right, we'll take another quick one here. Thanks for listening to the first hour of the Sean O'Connell Show. At noon on Thursdays, we go to Dishing with Dev. QB number 1 from our University of Utah football team, Devin Dampier, next on Utah's number 1 sports talk, the Sean O'Connell Show on ESPN 700. It is that time again on the Sean O'Connell Show. Dishing with Dev. QB1 joins us in studio every single week, except for the bye week. So it's been a couple weeks since we've had a conversation with Devin Dampier. This conversation every week is brought to you by Culligan Water of Salt Lake City. Experience the Culligan difference. America First Credit Union, Polylift Concrete Lifting and Piering, and ARUP Blood Services. Give local, save local. Lots to cover with number 4. Dev, how are you, sir?
Doing good. How are you?
Tell me how the bye week was. What'd you do?
Went to Arizona, seeing my parents, seeing my younger brother. Just got to spend that quality time with them.
Nice little reset when you get to do that in season.
Yeah, for sure. It's football's a grind. It's one of those sports, you don't really focus on too much more than just football. So just to have that breakaway was pretty nice.
Well, I'm gonna have to apologize in advance because I know you have moved on many, many days now, but we haven't got a chance to catch up on the Cincinnati game. You did it. You shook the monkey off the back. The college game day, big noon kickoff, all that stuff that people here were so superstitious about. You guys went out and you blew out the Cincinnati Bearcats, who at the time were ranked 17. I do think they're still a good team. The College Football Playoff Committee thinks they're a good team. 45-14, a complete offensive, defensive, special teams performance by your squad. How did it feel?
It felt great. Again, we've been preaching that to our team, to play as one and just go out there, play with no regrets, make sure, you leave everything on that field. And, I thought we did a great job of that last week.
Was that your best game as a Ute? Statistically, it wasn't your best game as a Ute, but you made, really timely plays, big plays when it mattered. And there were a lot of people who came away and said, oh, man, it's really good to see Dev back healthy and playing like that. Did you feel like it was at least up there as one of your best games?
I think I don't know. I got a hard time grading myself. I'm a really tough grader on myself. I just thought we went out there. I think my teammates helped me a lot. Also, just the way we came out as a group does make my job easier when the other 10 guys are playing pretty lights out. So
one of those guys that was playing lights out, well, there's a couple. We'll get to all of them. Your guy, Ryan Davis, RD, we've talked about him plenty in these conversations. 8 catches, 132 yards, and a touchdown. And I think finally, more than we're 3/4 of the way through the season, finally people are starting to put a little bit of respect on his name. Like, oh, he's not just he tries hard. He's a fun little story, came up from New Mexico. He's like a top 5 receiver in the league right now.
Yeah. No, I'm happy he's getting that respect because he's a baller. You look at him. A lot of people are, they're big on physicals, how tall, how strong, and this and that. Ryan's one of those guys. Obviously he doesn't have that when you look at him, but just the way he plays on that field, the swagger, the control, just everything he does on that field is, I love it.
Wayshawn, another 100-yard game for him. 6 yards a carry and a touchdown in this one. 17 for 104 against a Cincinnati defense that was solid against the run, not one of the best teams in the Big 12 against the run, but I think maybe more importantly for me, the running back room got a little more crowded with the emergence of Daniel Bray, and it's maybe ignited a fire a little bit because Coach Witt even said in the press conference, we now have a running back number 1. Came into the year, first 5-6 games of the year, it was by committee, let's see who emerges. And whether it was because of Bray or whatever else, Wayshawn has really separated himself.
Yeah, for sure. I think just again that grind and just first time in this offense, I think he's got to a point where he starts to feel comfortable. And I mean, when your trust is up there, when you're doing good stuff, you keep getting the ball, and I think he knows, if he keeps balling out there, he's gonna keep touching the ball, and I think that's just more motivation for him.
How much did you clown on Smith Snowden for getting an interception and then fumbling the interception back?
I got on him right at halftime. He was throwing with me at halftime, the warm up. I was like, bro, you've played offense before. You fumbling the ball and stuff, bro.
Oh, I know that one hurt him. But still, look, great play, great game. You all smash Cincinnati. And for the fan base, it kind of reignited a lot of optimism, a lot of passion, oh, my gosh, this really is a good team. And obviously then you head into a bye week with a home stretch of 3 games. You only get to focus on the one. With still a lot to play for, right? I mean, 7-2. How much is the college football playoff committee rankings like a part of conversation in the locker room? Because I know you guys are trying to focus on what's in front of you, but that's the thing that matters. That's one of the stated goals of this coaching staff. Let's make this college football playoff, and you're right there.
Yeah, there's no way for us to ignore it. We don't overly talk about it, but obviously our goal is to get in playoffs. So, that spot matters, but we don't get there unless we handle our part each and every week. So, I mean, that's what comes first, but for sure, that's always in the back of our mind because we do want to make playoffs.
Does it feel accessible? I mean, when you see your name at 13, and obviously it's a 12-team playoff, and knowing that you've got an opportunity with some very winnable games, does it feel like, oh, if we do what you just said, if we do handle our business, then we're at least in that conversation at the end of the year?
Yeah, for sure. We're just upset that, we made it where we need other people to help us out.
Yeah.
Hate to be in that position, but, we think things are going to fall in place for us. But, yeah, again, we got to handle our stuff first.
All right, I don't want to get too all over the place here, but I want to talk a little bit more about this Cincinnati game. So I was watching as a fan. Our guy Eric Weddle was in town, so I was sitting with him, and we were just hanging out, having fun. And, it's different to be in the stands. I usually watch from the sideline. It's different to be in the stands. You get different angles on things. We were having this conversation. He's a coach. Obviously, he played in the league for a very long time. We were having the conversation about the deep passing game for your offense. And I know it's something that everyone has stated they want to get better at. Coaches always say we want to be better with the downfield threats. Against Cincinnati, there were some that were really good, explosive plays, and there were a couple of throws or whatever that, I don't know if there was a route situation, a timing situation, and we got into that talk while we were sitting there watching. There is the arm strength conversation, the actual, mechanics of the throw, and then there's the timing. Right? And you know this way better than me at playing the position. When a ball gets underthrown or a ball gets thrown where you don't catch somebody perfectly in stride, when you go back and watch it on film, is it more of a timing thing? Is it more of I didn't see him at the right juncture in his route? Explain for me when you want that throw back, why it happens that way.
Yeah. Sometimes sometimes the ball just doesn't go where I exactly want it to go. But
Sure.
There's also another point where, depending on who's out there, for me, JJ and Dallin, those are tall, really physical guys. So when you underthrow them a little bit, it gives them the chance to gather their feet and jump for it. And normally the DBs they're running pretty full speed at them. So
Sure.
PIs normally get called during that time. Kind of get the best of both worlds. It's really going to be a PI or a catch. So. Just depending on who you're throwing to, it just kind of dictates how I put it up there.
It's probably an annoying question, but the reason I ask it is because when we're sitting there watching, none of us have played the position at that high a level, right? You think that it should just be an easy thing. Oh, he's, a step behind the DB. Let's put that thing 60 yards through the air, right? Everyone acts like it's a simple thing. I think that the timing of it matters just as much as having a big arm or whatever else. But I want to give a quarterback an opportunity to explain what he sees and what he does.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to explain it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair.
But, yeah.
All right. So you get this dominant win over Cincinnati, and I think for the most part everyone's healthy. Kyle Whittingham said that in the press conference. There was a scary moment for fans in that game where Spencer Fano gets carried into the blue tent. They cover him up on the sideline. When you guys are, on the sideline in the huddle, whatever, what's that like when you're like, okay, I hope he's good? And he came back in the game and he finished out the game. So, knock on wood, it's all. But give me your sense of a moment like that when one of the best guys on this team goes down, even temporarily.
Yeah. I mean, again, he's a big part of our offense, obviously. He's one of our energetic guys. So, just know, in my head, I'm like, okay, I gotta kind of fill his spot in. I gotta bring that to our offense still. But Spencer's one of the toughest guys I know. He came to the sideline. He's like, "I got you, Dev. I'll be right back."
Oh, nice.
Just stuff like that. He's hurting, but the fact he's going out there and he puts his body on the line for me. Just love that guy for real.
Devin Dampier is our guest here. Dishing with Dev, brought to you by Culligan Water of Salt Lake City. Taste the Culligan difference. America First Credit Union, Polylift Concrete Lifting and Piering, and ARUP Blood Services. Give local, save local. All right, so turning the page, you get through the bye week. It's 3 days of practice during the bye week, and then they give you the weekend off. Is that how it works?
Yep.
Same
Monday,
as
Tuesday, Wednesday. No, Thursday. We went Thursday
okay.
so far.
So same as the first bye week of the season.
Yep.
Does it feel like that formula? I mean, it worked the first time. Does it feel like that formula is kind of right for you to, at this point in the year? I imagine there's bumps and bruises all over the place, but you feel refreshed after the bye week?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's great for me and just the team in general. The little small bruises and just the amount of increase you can get in that week of a body part that's hurting or something. You get pretty good. Percentage goes a lot more higher up. So I think it's good the way we do it and the way we handle it.
I know there's a lot of football left to play in this season, but you've got eligibility, right? And you're now playing regularly in an offense where freshmen are being used a lot, right? I mean, you've got JJ, who you mentioned, Daniel Bray, who I've mentioned a bunch of times. There's a lot of young talent on this team, like young dudes who seem like they're going to be bright spots moving forward. Is that something that, I mean, even in the thick of this season, you look at it and say, man, if I can develop more chemistry and more timing with this guy, we got years of this in front of us.
Yeah, I think they're putting themselves in a great situation, especially, again, for next year. Those guys are going to be dudes for sure. But, I mean, they're dudes right now. There's a reason why they're playing right now. They've earned that respect, so huge shout-out to our young guys.
I lied. I do need to ask one more thing about the Cincinnati game. Bird had a rushing touchdown where it looked like he got maybe knocked all the way unconscious. I don't know if he did, but he got hit hard right in the side of the helmet, and then he kind of laid there for a second, ended up popping back up. But when you're watching that on film, like digesting, I know that you're both running quarterbacks, right? You're a little bit more seasoned in that regard. Is there something you could tell, like, hey, you don't have to take that hit? There's a way you can get to the end zone without taking that hit?
Yeah, I'm really close to Barrett. It was more of a joke to us.
Okay.
Like, hey, come on, bro.
Clowned him a little
yeah,
bit?
for sure. I definitely told him, the next time you good. Just go out of bounds or, find somebody to throw the ball to. You ain't got to take that.
Yeah, it was a big hit. But he got in the end zone. Right?
Yeah, he got in there.
He did what he had to do, added to that point total. 45-14 was the final. Tell me what you've seen with Baylor. What do you think of this Baylor Bears team? I look at it, they're a little bit bipolar, honestly.
Yeah.
Offensively, they can put up some big numbers and look like, oh, hey, that should be a team. Like at the beginning of the year in the preseason, people put them in the conversation as a contender in the Big 12. It has not played out that way, but there's not a lack of talent on that team.
For sure. Kind of just like you said, you see games where, they're flying around all game, and then there's times where they slow that down during games also. So, I think they're a talented group as well. I don't disrespect any opponent. I think they're really good on the defense side of the ball. So, we got to be on our A game.
And how do you maintain consistency after a bye week? We always talk about the advantages of a bye week and like healing up and things like that. But you guys are coming off of 100 points of offense in 2 weeks, basically, right? Rolling. That's momentum that you might not want to interrupt, and hopefully the bye week doesn't. So how do you make sure that you maintain your production, that the offense maintains its production after, some time off?
Just mentality, honestly. When the energy's up there and we're grinding during practice, tends to have good results for us at the end of the week. So we preached it already. Every practice it's got to matter. So I think we've been doing a good job of that during this week. So should be able to show it on Saturday.
I asked you this before we started recording. If you watched BYU Texas Tech, you said yes. A game like that is frustrating to watch. Expound on that. Tell me what you were thinking and feeling as you're watching that game.
Yeah, I just think we didn't capitalize on our big moments both of those games against both of them. So No, you just watch it. You just, man, I want that. Just want a couple plays back. Just things like that go on in your head. But respect to them. They won against us. But yeah.
In a perfect world, right? Let's say that the way things play out, because these are both possibilities. It's going to be hard to make it happen. But let's say that you can get into the college football playoff finishing 10-2. You don't go to the Big 12 championship game, but because you have 3 impressive wins, you get that at-large bid, that final at-large bid anyway. Or you get a chance at revenge on Tech or on BYU. In Devin Dampier's perfect world, what is the best way to finish out a great season? Who would you want to play in that championship? Yeah. You're smiling. I know you're thinking about how do I answer this diplomatically. Your coaches don't listen. I've already asked them. So tell me, what would be? Would you rather give me another shot at Tech? Give me another shot at BYU. I want that Big 12 championship. Or the bigger thing, which is not my favorite in college football right now, but the bigger thing for a school and a program right now is making the college football playoff, whether you win the conference championship or not. Ohio State didn't win the conference championship, and they won the national championship. Right. So, your perfect world, how do you get there?
Yeah. Man, I don't duck smoke. I love playing against good teams. So, that'd be fun either way. But playoffs is number one. That's something I've been dreaming since I got here. Literally, it's been the plan since I got here. Why I came here. So. Whatever makes that happen, I'm all for it.
When you're watching BYU Texas Tech and you're seeing how that plays out, which of those teams are you like, I hate these dudes, I want another crack at them, I know that if I would have done this or I would have done that we would have beat them? Which one was more in your mind?
Just both, to be honest. Not just a hating standpoint, just we just should have played better on our side of the ball for sure.
Sure.
We had the opportunities, so I just wish we capitalized a little bit better.
All right, back to Baylor. I'm putting you in a bad spot here. Back to Baylor. This team, like we said, there's ups and downs for them. It's on the road in Waco. It's a normal, the weather shouldn't be a factor, the heat shouldn't be a factor. And we've seen really in these last couple weeks, especially the run game kind of carry things. Passing has been good as well. It's been a balance, but the run game has emerged in a way that really made it so that Colorado was never a game, Cincinnati was never a game. Is that your running backs? Is that something you have to give the offensive line credit for? Is that Jason Beck's play calling? Why these last 2 weeks has the run game been so potent?
Man, yeah, I think it's all we all complement each other. Obviously, it starts with our OC. I think he does a great job of making plays different every week, finding things we do well, and continue to put ourselves in that position. And then, our O-line makes it pretty much we can call anything, and it should work out pretty well. Those guys are a talented group, and like you talked about earlier, bringing in Bray, Way stepping up, Knox still back there, quarterback run being there. Then we got good ball carriers as well, so dominating the trenches, tend to win games.
Are you paying attention to the job openings that are happening around college football? I know you're a fan of football, but you're also focused on your own season. There's 13 open jobs right now. There's been firings all over the country, big-time programs, mid-major programs. That shakes up things in the world of college football. Is that something you're paying any attention to right now?
Not serious paying attention to, but it's definitely when you see somebody get fired, everyone's like, "Yo, this is crazy!" Another person just got fired.
Auburn, Arkansas. Yeah. Everyone's wondering if Deion's going to be there next year. It's crazy.
It's a lot of teams right now letting go,
and now it's happening in the NFL too.
Yeah, which is kind of wild to me. I find it a little crazy, but
have you ever had a season where you had to finish out under an interim head coach?
No. Nope.
Or know anyone close to you that had to do that? It feels like it would be such a difficult thing. And sometimes there's, a team gets energized after a firing and the interim guy comes and does the rah-rah thing, and then they win that next game, and we all pay attention to that, and they lose like the next 3, and we don't pay as much attention to that. It seems like it'd be a really tough thing because you're in that routine, you're in that system, and then it probably changes a little bit when the head guy goes.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure that's difficult, no doubt. Head coach does build a culture, or at least a standard for the culture to meet. So, you lose that guy. I'm pretty sure it's a little tough.
I asked you this also off air, and I don't want to get too deep in anyone's business, but we have ideas about what the NIL world is and what NIL obligations look like. And people always report numbers that are sometimes way crazy overblown. And you and I have touched on this a little bit in our conversations, that there is now a businessman aspect to playing college football. And obviously you're one of the stars of this team. You're somebody who's deep in this community, and you're also trying to focus on the main thing and make sure that football is the main thing. And so I asked you, as far as daily, weekly, monthly obligations where you have to do that, you have to check that box in order to keep the paychecks coming, or you have to check that box in order to keep the collective happy, or whatever it is now. How much time do you have to put into that? And I just wanted to bring that to the air because I think that it's being managed pretty well, or it sounds like it's being managed pretty well, and that it's not something that takes away or distracts from your football.
Yeah. I think that's the great thing about agents. If you get the right ones, the ones that truly care for you, they put me in a pretty good situation. I really don't have to worry about anything during the season. I'm strictly football, strictly playing for my team. So I'm not in a situation where I got to worry about any of that going on outside of football right now.
I asked you this when we were halfway through the season. You're now 3/4 of the way through the season, right? 3 games left. Has it gone by faster than you thought it would?
Yeah, it's fine. It means you're having fun though. So I'm happy. I'm happy where I'm at. I'm happy the way Rice Eccles and everyone's treating us. So it is crazy that we're already last 3 games. Got to make them count.
You got one more home game.
Yeah,
Rice Eccles.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit last week. Spencer just brought it up. With his being able to go to the draft possibly, he was like, "This could be my last home game." So
that's crazy.
When we get to it, let's make the most of it.
That's really cool. Crazy though. Does it feel like all the goals? I mean, we go back to August when we first started having these conversations, and you had goals in your mind. You had some goals that you shared with us. Your personal goals, your team goals, they're all kind of there still to play for. I mean, yes, you will need help to get to the conference championship game and the playoff, et cetera, but is there some level of, satisfaction, optimism, excitement over the fact that we are 75% of the way through the season and all the things that you had set out to accomplish are still very possible?
Yeah. I think, again, the biggest thing for me is winning. Obviously, you want the rest of the stats to follow that and whatever, but as long as we're winning games, that's kind of number one for me. But it is pretty cool that just the way we're playing on offense and especially defense too. I mean, obviously I'm not on that side, but that's my squad too. They're playing phenomenal as well. So the fact that both sides are handling business, it's pretty good to have a good on both sides.
What can you tell me about Don Saunders? What's he like?
Don's quiet but energetic at the same time. It's so crazy because I got a little inside joke with him. We're just always he's a good vibe in the locker room. But he's one of those guys. He was waiting for his moment. And I think he's made the most of it every time he's gone in. So I'm proud of him for capitalizing on every opportunity he's getting.
He was great against Cincinnati. I mean, he was excellent. They were trying to attack him. I don't know if they had identified something, and he made that play. I think every time they targeted his guy, he was right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a Don Saunders game in my mind.
Yeah, for sure. I think the DBs, just against who we've been playing, they've had their time. The be tested, and I think they're handling better than anyone could. Everyone across the board.
You hate on him because he also wears number 4?
Nah, it's love. It's all love. 4-4 turning up on both sides.
Did you see what happened? Did you see the thing that USC should have gotten in trouble for where they had
Yeah, that was crazy.
they had
But
Sam Hewer?
They did put him. I saw something like on Twitter. They did have it like marked before the game
They put it, yes.
that he was gonna wear 80.
They put him in the program as number 80 before the game.
So like, as much as you want to say, they did. The other team had the opportunity to look at the rosters.
They did. The Big Ten came out, I think, yesterday and said, okay, they handled the roster thing right, but it's actually illegal for 2 people wearing the same number to play the same position in a game. So, like, if you went out to play corner wearing number 4, they'd be like, no, that's a penalty. You can't do that because you're not Don Saunders. And if Don came in to run like a Wildcat or something, also illegal.
Gotcha.
You learn something new every day.
So,
but
it's after, huh?
It's after the
fact.
So it doesn't matter. So if you're Northwestern, you're just like, well, thank you for telling us.
Yeah, we had to be the example to find this rule.
Thank you for figuring that out, but nothing happens. It doesn't change the result of the play or the game or anything else.
That's funny.
I actually hate when in the NFL, the NBA, when they do that, when they come out, the league office comes out and says, that should have been a penalty. That should have been a holding or whatever.
Yeah.
We missed this one. You're like, are you going to change the result? No?
Yeah, right.
Then stop talking about it. Everyone's already mad. Anyway, have you been to Waco before?
No.
Do you know anything about Waco? Have you, I don't know, do you watch Fixer Upper, that home improvement television show that's from there or anything like that?
No.
Any sense of
I've
Waco?
heard people don't like being there for a long time, though.
Yeah?
It's cool to go in and out.
All right. Well, go in and out, get this win against the Baylor Bears.
Yeah, let's get the important stuff done.
All right. Dev, it's always great catching up with you. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, always.
Good luck, man.
Appreciate it.
Devin Dampier, Dishing with Dev. QB1 joins us every single week, at least every active week for your Utes. Brought to you by Culligan Water of Salt Lake City. Taste the Culligan difference. America First Credit Union, Polylift Concrete Lifting and Piering. And, of course, ARUP Blood Services. Give local, save local. Lots left to get to on the Sean O'Connell Show. It's Utah's #1 sports talk, ESPN 700, 92.1 FM. Welcome back to the Sean O'Connell Show on ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM. We've got fierce fighting tickets to give away for Friday night. First fight will be at 7 o'clock at the Salt Lake City Masonic Temple. We'll be giving away tickets in an hour and 10 minutes or so. Make sure you tune in, text the answer to the trivia question for your chance to win a pair of Fierce Fighting Championship tickets on Friday night. All right, checking in behind enemy lines, Baylor insider from the Waco Tribune-Herald, Bryce Cherry. He's their sports editor, joins us here on the Sean O'Connell Show. Bryce, welcome. How are you, sir?
Doing well. How about you?
Anything interesting going on with the the Baylor athletic department today? Jeez.
Yeah, it's a never-ending news cycle around here. Yeah, it's been a crazy news day with I think what you're referring to, the Mac Rhodes news, and Mac's gonna take a leave of absence. We're being told it's about probably 4 weeks that can be expected. And yeah, it's kind of an interesting time. Obviously, he's got a big job as the chairman of the College Football Playoff Committee and going to step down from that. They're calling it personal reasons, and but they have investigated a couple of things now, one of which, we have some details on, which was an incident involving tight end Michael Trigg at the Arizona State game earlier this year, where they kind of got into it, he and Mac. And but this latest investigation still developing on that story.
So, if you can give me a little bit more insight, what's being reported is that whatever disagreement Trigg and Mac Rhodes had was about a yellow shirt that Trigg was wearing. That feels like a pretty innocuous thing for anyone to either be mad about or respond to or whatever. I don't know if that's why an assistant coach got involved. Do we know anything more than what's being, kind of reported in the Associated Press byline type stuff?
No, that's pretty much it. Like, he was wearing a yellow shirt and everybody else was wearing a dark undershirt, and Mac asked him about it, but asked him in a way that was not so pleasant. What the bleep are you wearing, kind of thing. And let me just give you a little bit of background on Michael Trigg. Uber talented, probably gonna win the Mackey Award for the best tight end in the country. He's leading a number of categories for tight ends in the country. Just crazy athletic. He makes one-handed catches, and he's going to be playing in the NFL. All that said, he's a little bit of a mystery to us here in Waco because in 2 years on the team, he has yet to conduct one interview. Baylor has kind of kept him under wraps. And, he's not the first guy they've ever done that with, but, so we'd love to talk to Michael Trigg, but again, they're not making him available. We've heard that he actually talks about himself in the first person, which sounds glorious. I would love to hear, Michael Trigg talk about Michael Trigg.
I need this so bad now. I didn't know. See, you're giving me totally new information. I didn't know that he was off limits to talk to. Bryce,
I wrote in a column that he probably has gone up to Sawyer Robertson and gone, Michael Trigg says, throw Michael Trigg the ball.
oh my gosh, I need the Michael Trigg one-on-one interview so bad.
Yeah, it may happen. We'll see. We literally request him every week. Every week that he's ever been here, he's requested it. So that's ongoing, and we'll see. But, back to the point, I think it was emotions running high, and then you had Baylor losing a tight game to Arizona State, second loss of the season at that point, and a lot of high expectations maybe starting to circle the drain. And, Max got a temper, and I think maybe Michael Trick does too. And so I just think maybe it was a little case of emotions running high. I've heard there's some video of the incident. We haven't been able to acquire that. Baylor is a private school, and so they're able to kind of shield itself from some things. But yeah, it's a weird situation. It's an ongoing situation, and then like I said, it's kind of still developing.
Is Baylor better? You talked about the high expectations, and look, we on this show, we were among those who said, hey, Baylor's got a chance to be a conference championship contender this year when we were back in Texas in August, but they're not right now, right?
Right.
Are they better than 5-4?
Man, I think with that, you've kind of got to trot out the old Bill Parcells line and says you are what your record says. I mean, they're just very inconsistent. They've had one game where they've kind of put it all together, talking about offense, defense, special teams, all of it, and that's, fortunately, I guess, for the Bears, their last game, homecoming against UCF. I don't think UCF's great, but at the same time, they were running the ball pretty well going into that game against Baylor, and Baylor shut them down. And it's, legitimately the only time all year where we've, just really seen both sides of the ball kind of show up and show out. Defense has been the issue for this team. Obviously, Sawyer Robertson and the receivers they have. Bryson Washington's been a little banged up. That's been an issue for Baylor's running game. But, they can put points on the board generally. They have had their moments, though, where the offense has kind of not shown up, and maybe the defense was playing a little bit better that day. So there's just been a lot of uneven performances for Baylor, and you kind of never know what you're going to get from week to week, and that's led to a pretty hot seat for Dave Aranda. Now, I think it quieted a little bit with the win over UCF. I mean, it was a really good performance on homecoming, one that he really needed and the team needed. 30-3. I think it was Baylor's lowest, opponent score in a conference game in about 20 years. So, a good performance. You can't dismiss it. But I think Utah coming in is a little bit different animal. I mean, it's going to be tough for Baylor's run defense, which ranks 113th in the country, even after the UCF game. So.
We're talking the Baylor side of this Utah versus Baylor matchup with Bryce Cherry, Baylor insider. So give me the Bears' perspective on this Utah team when you're scouting this particular matchup. We've these last couple of weeks come to think that Utah's pretty solid right now, and I think this is a good matchup for the Utes. But tell me the Baylor perspective on it.
Yeah, I think I think they have the utmost respect for the Utes. That's kind of died down just because of Baylor's record. But he still, I think, is third in the country in passing, as we speak today. Led the country in passing for a lot of the season. Sawyer is incredible. They've got a lot of talent at receiver. So, I mean, they're gonna challenge Utah's defense. But we know at the same time, like I said, that's strength on strength. That's something that Utah does well. So, yeah, I think they have a lot of respect. I know Dave Aranda, we asked him about Kyle Whittingham the other day at his press conference, and that Dave is such a unique guy, just to say the least. Not like a lot of coaches that you've ever been around in terms of just very much more quiet, much more introspective, thoughtful. He's about as, I guess, self-deprecating or self-analyzing a guy I've ever seen. In terms of like, I screwed this up, I should do this better, that kind of thing. Like, he owns his stuff. But anyway, we asked him about Kyle the other day, and he mentioned, sitting next to him at some Baylor Big 12 event, maybe it was media days. I don't remember, and he's talking to him, and that in itself is, again, Dave's not really a talkative guy, but I think he's probably a little different around coaches. But he mentioned, I'm kind of trying to get to know him better, and Kyle shows me some pictures on his phone, and he's talking about Led Zeppelin albums and like his favorite guitarist and stuff. And at one point I asked Dave, I said, so what are the photos on your phone? And he says, not hard rock. That's all he said. I don't know. Dave's just a different cat, but yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I think Baylor has a lot of respect for Utah, and that respect is well earned and deserved.
People here in the state, I think, have some leftover affection for Coach Aranda from his time at Utah State, and before that, Southern Utah, his association with Gary Anderson, things like that. So I think it's weird. I think there's a lot of people here in Utah that kind of want to see Dave Aranda be successful. Not this weekend, not in a head-to-head matchup, but we've followed his career probably as closely as an out-of-state outlet would want to. Before I let you go, I want to ask you about the destination that Waco is in the Big 12. I know that when Utah became a member of this conference, and we asked the question of like, all right, well, it's not the Pac-12 anymore. So what's the city you're looking forward to visiting and things like that? And Waco kind of pops up because obviously, there's some celebrity draw with the Fixer Upper and things like that, the silos, and people are buying the stuff at Target. You might as well go down to Waco where it all started. Is that something that is like, I don't know, do they lean into it? Do the Baylor Bears lean into that? And, is Waco as a host city kind of a thing now?
Yeah, I think so. So I've been here, 27 years at the Trib, and I've seen Waco change a lot in that time. Obviously, the Chip and Joe effect has kind of transformed the town in a lot of ways. A lot of us who lived here before that, loved it and appreciated it back then. There's a lot of good going for Waco in terms of centrally located in Texas. Weather's pretty good. It's hot. It's Texas, but a good place to raise a family, good college town, all those kind of things. But when Fixer Upper kind of blew up, there was a time where there was some study done. This is probably 5-10 years ago, maybe at the height of Fixer Upper and stuff. When some magazine did like top tourist destinations in the United States, and it was like Honolulu 1, Waco 2, and we were like, what? Like, even those people that lived here, we were like, what? But the Chip and Joe effect is real, and people flock to Magnolia. Again, the old timers like us have been around a while, grumble sometimes, but it's still been good for the town. And hotels are like, have popped up, more plentifully in that time because they've realized, oh man, more people are coming here. We need to have more rooms for them. So, there's a lot of cool things to see and do. Like I said, I still think at its heart, it's a college town. It's not Austin. It's not. You feel like, more people are looking at Waco like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll go to Waco, and that'll be okay.
As a college town, you got to have like a thing that someone's supposed to come in. If you're visiting for game day, you got to eat one particular thing, or there's a dessert or a pancake or whatever. What is that in Waco?
No, see, now you're talking about language. You're talking to a sports writer. I know how to eat. There's multiple answers to this question. But I would say if you're coming to Texas, you probably want some Texas barbecue. And the best barbecue in Waco, some of the best in the state. which that's high praise because Texas has great barbecue all around the state. Is located at Hellberg Barbecue, which is just outside of Waco. It's a little community called China Spring, but it's a suburb of Waco. They really do their barbecue up right. I would recommend anyone coming to Waco, go check out Hellberg.
We will endorse that recommendation and appreciate you for your time. Thank you so much. Enjoy the game this weekend.
Yep, appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Bryce Cherry is a Baylor insider for the Waco Tribune-Herald. He's their sports editor down there. And sleepy little Waco, Texas is kind of front and center in the college football storyline because their athletic director, Mack Rhoades, has stepped down. He's on a leave of absence from his athletic director job at Baylor, and he has stepped down from his position as chair of the College Football Playoff Committee. The Arkansas athletic director will step into that role, and the Big 12 representative will be Mark Harlan, assuming that the committee approves these changes. They do have to change them. They do have to approve the changes.
Yeah,
that's what's been proposed to move forward.
The conference, it sounds like, I'm learning this in real time, it sounds like the conferences are allowed to they recommend a person, but then the committee presumably has to vote to approve it. That they're probably going to go with who the conference recommends, though. So, and Mark Harlan was on. Was it last season or was it the year before that he was on the committee? He's done it before anyway.
James, I like to do this every now and again when we're talking about going to visit a place. I look at the home prices in the communities that Utah's playing at or whatever.
They're probably dirt cheap compared to most other places.
Now,
in the
this,
country,
by the way,
right?
this is even after
here.
the boom of half of these damn houses got fixed up on that television show.
Yeah.
All right. I found us a spot, James, for when we relocate the show to Waco, Texas. Okay.
Still be on Salt Lake City airwaves. We'll just do it remotely from Waco. Yeah.
Yes. It's a 7-acre lot.
The Honolulu of Texas, I hear.
6.97 acres. Okay. Modest, regular ranch-style house on 7 acres. It's got an above-ground pool in the back, which we'll dig it to be in-ground, okay? I don't like above ground.
What are we doing? 7 acres. You got room for an in-ground pool.
4-bed, 2-bath, 2,500 square feet. It's a nice little spot, okay?
Yeah.
On 7 acres.
7 acres is a lot.
What do you think that costs in Waco, Texas?
Let's see. Here in Utah, that's in the millions.
7 acres anywhere in Utah right now, at least on the I-15 corridor, is absolutely over $1 million.
Yeah.
If it's in the Salt Lake Valley, that's
probably even higher.
$3 million. If it's up in Park City or Heber or one of those places, that's $3 to $5 million with a house on it.
So given that, I'm going to say $700,000 in Waco, Texas.
4-bed, 2-bath, 2,500 square feet on 7 acres. $375,000.
Oh my gosh! I did not think that I went double what it was with that guess. Oh my gosh, we got to move to Texas.
It probably needs a little bit of a remodel, but you could move.
Well, just call Chip.
Yeah.
Hey Chip, we're new.
I mean, here's one that is fully remodeled. This is a beautiful home on 1.5 acres, 4-bed, 3-bath, 3,100 square feet. $500,000.
Unbelievable.
Let's go, baby. All right, got to take a quick one. Eric Weddle's going to join us at the top of our 1 o'clock hour. We'll do a real quick PGA Tour leaderboard update next on the Sean O'Connell Show. ESPN 700, 92.1 FM. Butterfield Bermuda Championship is our PGA Tour leaderboard update, brought to you by Uinta Golf. New Pro V1 and Pro V1X bringing you more speed and control than ever before. Available now at Uinta Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf. Who's in the lead at the Butterfield Bermuda Championship, James?
So this is a little premature to mention this guy's name, and you'll understand why in a second. Adam Hadwin is your leader. He has not yet won, but he is Adam Hadwin.
I get it.
He's at 5 under. Couple holes left in his opening round. Ryo Hisatsune he's finished with his first round. He's tied with Alex Smalley for second at 4 under. And then let's see the rest of the top 10 here. Tied for fourth. Max McGreevy is among a handful of guys tied for fourth. Or excuse me, he's tied for 8th at 2 under. Tied for fourth, you got guys like Christopher Ventura at 3 under, and then Max McGreevy and a few others, including Thorbjorn Olesen, tied for 8th at 2 under. That kind of rounds out the top 10. A lot of these guys still playing in their opening round, so it's definitely a chance to improve their scores. Let's see, of our Utahns in the field, Zach Blair has finished his opening round at even. He's tied for 32nd right now. Let's see. There's been a couple of former BYU golfers that have been in the field the last few times. Patrick Fishburne, one of them, at even as well, and finished his round, so tied for 32nd. So there you go. That's your PGA Tour leaderboard update, brought to you by Uinta Golf from the Butterfield Bermuda Championship. Some call it the 20th major. OC.
Okay. I haven't heard that, but I will take your word for it. Eric Weddle joins us to start off hour number 3. Don't go anywhere. It's Utah's number 1 sports talk, the Sean O'Connell Show on ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM. Welcome to hour number 3. Welcome in our good buddy and the Utah football and NFL legend, Eric Weddle. Conversation with Eric Weddle today is brought to you by Baskin-Robbins. They've got a Baskin-Robbins ice cream cake giveaway coming back, a turkey-shaped cake. All you have to do is you text your score prediction for Utah versus Baylor with the correct winner, 877-353-0700. Who's ever closest wins a Baskin-Robbins ice cream cake that looks remarkably like a Thanksgiving turkey. Eric Weddle, welcome back to the show. How are you, sir?
My brother, great. How's my guy doing? Had a nice little week off after our big win, and you're back in the flow of things, I see.
Back in the saddle. Very excited about an upcoming matchup against the Baylor Bears, but we had a great opportunity. It was lovely to watch a game with you, to hang out, to catch up with you, to catch up with your son, Gage. Our old teammate John Peel also there, of course, the illustrious and legendary Justin Hansen. And, you know, it's you probably don't appreciate this. You probably don't realize this about watching football with yourself, but you will make comments during a football game about things that maybe other people don't notice. And that was something, even in a really good performance against Cincinnati, you know, you made a couple of comments while we were watching about some of the long throws for this Utah football offense. And I don't want to be overly negative because obviously it was a great performance and they won in convincing fashion. But I asked Devin Dampier about this. It's something that, I want to flesh out a little bit more. When you can only hit on like 2 out of 5 deep throws in a game, you're limiting the offense. And it's something that we've asked for improvement on from this passing game all season. And you were in stadium and you got to see it up close. What are the deep throw issues for Utah's offense right now?
Well, I think it's I haven't studied nor watched enough and been there, so I'm not going to sit here and say like I have the right answer. It just seems like a lot of times he's not centered and really stepping in like momentum to the target, right? Like a lot of times he's backing up, and it could be timing and also trusting that, you know, high and outside is always a great throw, right? Because it's either incomplete or it's catch. A lot of times he's throwing these passes underthrown, and they're having to come back to the ball. So I don't know, like when you're a run and a dynamic offense like us on first and second down, I mean I think we're top 5 in the country on third and short of just having third and I think it's average of 3rd and 5, I think, or 3rd and 4.5. Like that's insane, and it's so good when you're playing complete team football. But when you have those shot plays, when you're getting single high, you're getting man to man, that you have to hit on them because it's hard to generate big plays in general. But as an offense, when you are methodically going down the field at a 10, 12, 14 plays, it becomes more important to hit on those big plays to help generate easier offense.
So demolition by this Utah offense, and the defense played great. You got excellent special teams plays. And back-to-back weeks now, we saw Utah smash Colorado. We saw them smash a ranked Cincinnati team and shake kind of the game day monkey off the back, the big game pressure off the back a little bit. And then they head into a bye week. And now the College Football Playoff Committee has sent this message that we like your resume, we like your numbers, we like what you're doing. We're putting you just on the outside looking in. It feels like if Utah finishes out in convincing fashion, that they'll be at least part of the conversation for a college football playoff spot when we get to there. You got to win these games, though, and I think you got to win them with some style points.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I think they look at us as a team that's on the incline, improving, playing our best football towards the end of the year, and they understand that. They understand our 2 losses. I think they take into account that for up until 9 minutes left in the Texas Tech game, it was a 3-point game, and then they pulled away. And that's a really top-notch team. But, you know, some things didn't go our way, and injuries and et cetera, et cetera. So and then obviously the BYU loss. I was actually pulling for BYU. I think it was a much easier road to get to the Big 12 championship with them winning out than the latter. So, but yeah, I mean, we're in a good position. At the end of the day, you go 10-2 and you miss out on the playoff, then that's just unfortunate. I think we'll have a strong case. There's some games this weekend like Georgia, Texas. Texas, I think is gonna lose, so they drop them out, and some other matchups they're gonna cancel each other out. That might slide us in, and you never know. 3 games left that we could get into the Big 12 championship, which would be awesome. But I don't think it may not be necessary if we go out and destroy every opponent left and see what happens.
With what you've seen, I guess, post the BYU loss, how confident should we feel that when healthy, this team is capable of, Baylor, Kansas State, Kansas, going out and taking care of business that way? I mean, I look at these matchups, I look at what we've seen from these last two performances, and to be overly reductive, I say, if you can play like that, you can beat anybody in the country right now. I know it's easier said than done to maintain that level of performance, but it feels like, the recipe is there if you stay the course.
1,000%. We play together, play clean, stay ahead of the chains, don't have some mishaps offensively, make them compete on their offense against our defense. It's hard to score. It's hard to go up and down the field. Like, yeah, they're going to hit a couple shots up the field because that's just the style of football we play on defense. We're going to get after you, going to pressure the quarterback, and we're going to play great man-to-man defense. So at times you're going to get a slot fade or a goal ball, but over time, like, look at what we made that quarterback. I mean, 30% completion, and going into that game, I was able to hang out with the coaches and whatnot on Friday and spend some time with them. And Gail said the exact weakness of his game were outside the numbers, vertical throws. And how many incompletions did you see where they weren't even close, like ball going out of bounds and really taking advantage? So we're going to make opposing offenses do what they least like to do and what they're not efficient at. And over the course of a game, your inability to be successful on whatever that is going to show its face when we play us. So I don't foresee any hiccups as long as we stay the course. The team looks like it's peaking at the right time, and let's go see what will happen.
Eric Weddle's our guest here, talking a little Utah football on the Sean O'Connell Show. Now, Baylor's interesting because they're the number one passing offense in the Big 12 Conference. They've got especially a tight end he's their leading receiver. He's a freak of an athlete. He started his career at USC. I don't know how much you've seen of him, but this Michael Trigcat is he's a freak athlete. He's going to be an NFL tight end, and they can line him up anywhere, and they can do different things with him. Would you, as a safety, rather face if an opposing team's number one threat is like a traditional wide receiver build, if it's a tight end? I don't know. There were some teams that their best pass catching threat is like a slot receiver type guy. Which one is easiest or hardest to defend when you're playing the safety position?
Well, I think schematically it's much more difficult if you have a stud receiver outside that you literally cannot leave by himself. Like every coverage, whether it's single high or whether it's two shell, roll coverage, like you have to have a plan so that guy doesn't ruin the game. You know, like when we played Tyreek Hill in his prime days, you weren't going to leave him by himself. Like it just was a non-negotiable. And then it limits what you can do on defense. Like you could still jimmy rig it as best you can, but there are times where we have a pressure called and the post player needs to be shading that side, but you're on the opposite hash. So you either get out of there, out of the disguise and run your butt over there, or you chance it. And now you're giving the opportunity to get a go ball or a one-on-one outside. So I think it's much more difficult to stop those guys than tight ends. You can combo, you can match coverage, you can play zone with those guys because they're interior aligned. So a lot of guys can get their hands on them. If they move them around, you know, you live with it because you're not so worried about the guy just running by a corner for a touchdown for 80, right? Like that's the difference from a stud wide receiver than a tight end. Like, he may catch a go ball for 20, 25 yards. Okay, so be it. The guy catches a go ball for 80 for a touchdown, that'll ruin the game.
So, I mean, Morgan Scalley knows how to scheme these things up. I think probably just as importantly, he's got the personnel that should be able to take away a guy like Trigg, even if he is, a top 3, top 5 tight end in the country.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you got to remember, as much as these offenses and players and scheme, they have just amount of emphasis on handling what we do defensively and handling our scheme and pressures and different looks, and understand that you're not just going to have 4 seconds to throw the ball. So, yeah, it may sound all great. Hey, we're going to move them around. We're going to stack them. We're going to ISO them here. Okay, did you spend any time picking up our pressures and blocking our edge guys and this and that? So at the end of the day, you try not to get so much enamored with the opponent and understand that we fear no one, right? You try to implement that and that mindset in our players' minds, and I think they understand that we play our game. Nobody can handle us. And so let's go out and execute, be us. Don't try to be someone we're not, right? And go out and execute.
The offensive line at the University of Utah got news that they've been elevated to semifinalists for the Joe Moore Award, which is an award handed out to the best offensive line in the country every year. They're one of 10 finalists. And obviously we came into the year talking a lot about them, and we've seen them have incredible games like Colorado, like Cincinnati. We've seen them in some other games where probably wished a little bit more could have happened up front, or you would have won the line of scrimmage a little bit better against a team like Texas Tech, whatever. But now that you've seen them in person as well as watching them on TV, how good is this offensive line?
Man, seeing them live, just seeing their work, I know the attention to detail, Coach Harding and Coach Beck and that scheme. And, man, it's crazy to me, the athleticism and just the size and strength that these guys are. I feel either I'm getting smaller as the years go on, or these freaks are just getting bigger and stronger and faster. I don't really know. And then I take a step back and I said, how in the world did I ever play this game with these guys out there? It's really humbling to see firsthand, and just really as a fan and as a supporter, just proud of the work. I know how hard it is and how much work and sacrifice goes into it to be at the top of your game, and that unit is one of the best. So it's nice to get that recognition and just to see them lead our team. I mean, it comes down to the big boys and the O-line, D-line, in the trenches. And if you have excellent play in the fronts, you always have a chance to win. And that's where the game's won and lost, in my opinion. It's never going to change. You either win the line of scrimmage or you don't.
No, look, I don't. A lot of stuff has to happen. You already alluded to this. There still is a mathematical possibility that Utah could be in the conference championship game. And we had Devin Dampier on the show earlier today. I asked him the same question. It's different when you're an active player versus an alum. But if you could get a second crack at either Texas Tech or BYU in the conference championship game, and let's also throw in there that if you lose the conference championship game, you're definitely not going to the college football playoffs. So which of those teams do you want to see in Arlington if you got the choice?
A better shot at winning would be BYU, in my opinion. I don't think they're as talented or as good overall, and that's no slight on BYU. They're freaking good. I think Texas Tech is really, really good, and so I'd rather play BYU if I'm trying to see what gives us the best shot at winning. But either or, but you never know. Honestly, like, we match up well with Texas Tech, in my opinion, and honestly, the starting quarterback that's playing and the backup that got hurt, I actually think he's not the better quarterbacks, and we shut them down for the most part. And if we get just some competent offensive play, I don't think it was close, in my honest opinion. We talked about that some odd weeks ago. So I don't know. They're both really good teams. Let's just hope we get a crack at one of them. And if not, then we should have beat one of them when we had the chance.
Eric Weddle for just a couple more minutes here on the Sean O'Connell Show. Let's talk about the important stuff now, Dub. Playoff win for your Rancho Bernardo Broncos last week. First playoff win as a head coach. How'd it feel?
Yeah, man. We're a lot like the Utes. We're coming together after we're getting our butts kicked against Mission, and I think that was more of an anomaly than anything. But we took it, and we took it on the chin as coaches, as the head coach, and looked at myself to improve and to get better as a coach and have my boys ready to play. That's ultimately on me, and I think we've done that the last 2 weeks against our rival, against Poway. We outplayed them and smoked them, and then against a league opponent who really at their place in league play was a tough matchup. We beat them by 14, but it was a tight game going in the fourth quarter to completely demolish them. Having them quit mid-second quarter was a sight to see. And that goes back to the execution and the belief and the confidence that these kids are playing with. And we're excited. We're excited for the challenge. We got Granite Hills at their place. They've either won Division I or Open the last 3 years, been a state champion. This is a juggernaut of a program, really good players, talent across the board. But hey, I like our chances. I really do. I like the mighty 38 guys that we've got. We're up to about 45 now, and boys are playing hard, playing together, and I can't wait to watch them tomorrow night.
Granite Hills, you stink, all right? We hate the Granite Hills Eagles. And guess what? Their logo looks stupid. It's like an interlocking GH, but you can't tell if it's a GH or a CH.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
What are you doing, Granite Hills? You're not cool. Go Broncos.
Go Broncos, baby.
Before we let you go, some interesting things happening in the NFL. The coaching carousel starts to spin there. Daboll's out with the New York Giants. How appealing is that job? We saw some articles, and they're trying to suss it out and talking to people anonymously. And obviously, they got a lot of young offensive talent. As an organization, there's some things I think left to be desired there. What do you think of the Giants as a franchise?
Oh man, I love the idea of those pieces in that quarterback, and the defensive line. There's a lot of nice pieces to work with, but man, they are just in shambles. I'm kind of shocked that they fired Daboll, and not the GM along with them. What are we doing? The GM put this team together, so how does he get a pass? And I don't have anything against them. I'm just saying the coach usually gets the shaft. And I think Daboll's a good coach, but really you haven't done anything in 2+ years. And at the end of the day, you don't win for 2+ years, you're going to get fired. And he knows that. Coaches know that. You got to show improvement. You got to win some games. And too many games this year for the Giants, they've lost at the end of the game, just inexcusable type losses. So I think it's a great looking job. It's the Giants. It's New York, but you never know, man. Some of these organizations are trash buckets, and I don't know if they're that, but they're not as what they once were maybe a decade ago.
The Jackson Dart concussion situation. He's been evaluated for concussions now 4 times, and this time he got hit. He went back out. He played a couple more plays, and then they're like, well, something's not right with this dude. Now let's go check on him. So they're being investigated for how they handle the concussion protocol, that kind of stuff. As a teammate, right, you're all professionals, and there's 15 other people on the sideline and in the stadium that it's their job to watch out for that kind of stuff, not yours. As a teammate, when you're seeing something like that kind of unfold and a chronic problem maybe starting to show itself with especially a young guy, especially at a position that's so important, how do you handle it as a teammate?
and I don't really worry about it. Me as a player, I got a job to do, so I'm not really concerned with other guys and are they out there or not. If you're out there, you can help us. If you're not, then the next guy's got to go. So it's a little cutthroat, but that's just the reality. The next guy's got to be ready to go, and if he's not ready, then you're going to get fired because you're not ready for your opportunity. So I don't know, like it's so much has changed and the injuries and this and that. I mean, I deal with it at the high school level. Like a guy gets banged up, and normally like it wouldn't even be anything, but then they go to the doctors. Then the doctors won't clear them, and like you're dealing with like a sprained ankle or something, and you're out for 2 weeks. It's like what are we doing? But I don't even like really fret about it. I just move on to the next player because it's not worth the fight nor getting fired over it. So I just move on, and I think at the NFL level they're watching that stuff. It's definitely not on the players or anybody else to be worried about can the guy play or not, or should he get checked out or not. Like we're always going to push through it, and if I'm a teammate, obviously if he's not himself, I would hold him out. But if I know the guy and I know like he can shake it off in a play or two, like we're going to keep on rolling. That's just the way it was and the way it is for us old school guys, I guess.
All of your old franchises in the NFL in your career are on some win streaks right now. Baltimore is Baltimore is the most interesting one for me because it was looking pretty grim there for a minute, and now they've won 3 in a row. You think that this is sustainable?
Oh yeah, baby. It's I mean, I think I brought it up on the show. I think they can get on a run. It's hard to do. They've done it in the past. We went 6 in a row, Lamar's rookie year, to make the playoffs and win the division, and then they went on like crazy 14-2 the next year. So streaks can happen. You just have to win one, right? And just get that feeling of winning and finding a way, and then 1 turns into 3, and now 3 is going to turn into 6. Their next 3 games are a bunch of bums in the league right now. So you're going to look before you know it. They're going to be 7-5, leading the division, and we're all going to be like, watch out. Same thing happened last year with the defense. They were terrible the first quarter, first 6 games. Then they were a top 5 defense the second half of the year. They figured it out. The biggest improvement they made was trading for Alohi from the Chargers, being able to put Kyle Hamilton down in the box and let him be a difference maker. And that's been the single most best mid-season trade addition for any team because it's allowed the Ravens to get back to being a dynamic defense. And getting Lamar back healthy obviously makes any franchise a competitor.
I don't want to talk about the Rams' most recent success because it was against my 49ers.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, wait.
No, it's fine. We don't need to discuss that. That's fine.
Okay. We don't want to talk about the MVP? That's what you're talking about? You don't want to talk about the MVP?
Your MVP, maybe.
No, Murph. We know who the MVP of the league is right now. I'll just give a quick shout-out. And it's funny. I bet the listeners will get a kick out of this. You know, obviously, we're all watching the game. It's prime time. This was a must-win for the Rams. And it showed by the focus and how we came out. If we lost that game, then we got really no shot at winning the division. So it was a must-win. But I'm in the fourth quarter, and the Rams just went. You know, the Niners went down and scored out of the half. Right, Rams came back and scored. The Niners scored, then the Rams. And those 3 scoring drives for the Rams was some of the most magnificent play calling I've seen from Sean. And I texted him mid-game. I'm like, you are in your bag right now. I'm taking notes. I love what you're doing. Love you. And then literally 20 minutes after the game, he says, we got him. I love you, brother. And I'm like, this guy is awesome. So to your demise, the Niners, they stink. Too many injuries. The Rams are going all the way, hopefully, and they're playing some good football right now.
Did you have any memorable interactions with Antonio Brown in your shared years in the league?
Honestly, always competitive on the field. He was an outstanding player, dynamic, obviously one of the best. He had a crazy run of 6-7 years that was just insane. So we had our battles, and it was always, Pro Bowls were cool. We got into it a little after the fact when, we get into Twitter and this and that. And, me, I speak my mind. And when people are acting dumb or saying dumb things, I'm going to call them out on it. And so we had a little, whatever that was. It's nothing because it's not real. Twitter's not real. Most 99% of the conversations go on. You'd never say face to face. I'm not talking about myself. I say what I say no matter what, but most people would never say what they say on Twitter. But outside of that, it's I hope what's going on in his life, I hope he can, on a serious note, I hope things will get right, because I've had too many guys that aren't here anymore that I've either been teammates with or players that I've played with, been competitors against that aren't here anymore for the struggles that they're going on inside their mind or inside closed doors. And we always got to make sure we're checking in on each other and telling each other we love them and then we're here for them. It's hard for guys to swallow their pride and ask for help. And we got to make sure that we're there for each other.
How was your head, Dub? You played a lot of years in the league. You've had a great college career, and there are sometimes costs to that. I know that you got bumps and bruises and creaky joints here and there, but what about the brain stuff? Do you feel like you escaped the CTE thing?
Yeah, I don't. People will probably get mad at me for saying this, but I don't think CTE is. How do I put it? I think it's a crutch. I think it's an excuse, in my opinion. And I know it's not true. I know it's real. But for me personally, yeah, there are moments where I'm on edge and I can be a little flustered. But I try to stay with it. I know why I'm here, right? And I know the bigger picture. I know that football isn't who I am. It's just what I did. I'm much more than that. And I try to stay sharp. I work out every day, not so much other than to make myself, my mind, body, and spirit feel better. And I do a lot of reading. And I just try to stay sharp, man. I try to stay sharp. That's not going to be the reason Eric Weddle's not here. I'm going to live till I'm 100 plus. It's a goal of mine. I believe it in my heart, and I love life. And there's so much more to this life to give and to help and to see it through. So yeah, I think it's just a lot of guys struggle with the next step and what's next for them, whether it's family or direction or vision or what's my purpose or, faith and things that are bigger than myself. So I think a lot of guys struggle with that, and then they just go down a spiral that it's hard to come back from. But I'm good, man. I appreciate you asking, and it's good having a great circle of family and friends like yourself that are always there and just a call away to talk to each other and vent and get things off our chest and move forward.
Well, to end it on a lighter note, since you do like reading, have you started reading the book yet?
I'm like 20 pages left of the Mistborn series of book 3, and then the next book or 2 books will be yours, and that will be a read that I look forward to reading. So I
look forward to it.
Synopsis for you.
I look forward to it because I know that you will tell me what you really think about it, and everyone else is kind of like, oh. It's like my grandma being like, "This is the greatest book I've ever read in my life," and it's like you can't say anything else. Eric Weddle will tell me the truth.
I'll tell you what I like. I love to read, and it's. I'm looking forward to it. it only took you, a decade to finally send me your book. So I guess I'm finally in the inner circle of the Murph.
I don't use the mail service that often. That's what I'll blame it on. I should have just handed you a hard copy myself, but I'm glad you got it. I look forward to your criticisms and critiques, and love you, dog.
Love you too, brother. Appreciate you.
Eric Weddle, Utah football legend, NFL football legend, head coach of the Rancho Bernardo Broncos, who are in action this weekend against Granite Hills for a round 2 matchup. They killed Del Norte in the first round of the playoffs. And as we have said many times, he's done a great job with that team.
Who likes Eagles anyway?
Yeah.
No one likes.
By the way,
no one likes the bird eagle.
I do like to just like facetiously hate on all the teams, but seriously, Granite Hills logo, it sucks.
Yeah,
it looks like an interlocking CH instead of a GH.
It looks like Copper Hills out in West Jordan.
Correct.
Shout out to Copper Hills. No, it's
Jerem Jordan, former Copper Hills Grizzly.
Hey, that's right. I forgot about that. You guys graduated at the same time, right?
Yeah, we did.
Or within a year or two of each other. You have to look at it closely to see. Oh, the little serif part of the H is also the rest of the G.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad
design.
design.
It's not good.
Yeah, so they don't deserve
not good.
to win.
That's why Rancho Bernardo. Another reason why Rancho Bernardo is way better than you.
Yeah, Rancho Bernardo. You can tell that it's an RB. Anyway, big thanks to Eric Weddle. Don't forget to text us your predictions for Utah Baylor. Pick a winner, pick a score. The most accurate prediction wins a Baskin-Robbins ice cream cake that is shaped like a Thanksgiving turkey. It's a work of art, a delicious work of art.
If you want to text us predictions to the Rancho Bernardo game too, fine. You don't get entered in the ice cream cake.
You'll
giveaway.
get James Peterson bonus points for that. All right, we didn't do the daily dump earlier, so we'll do it next. There's a lot of strange stories in the world of sports. Sean O'Connell Show on ESPN 700, 92.1 FM. Any plumbing or drain cleaning needs that you have, check out Valley Plumbing. The truck with the duck will take care of you. ESPN 791 FM. Quick daily dump here on the Sean O'Connell Show. A reminder, by the way, that if there's any games you want to watch this weekend, maybe you don't have tickets tonight to see the Utah Jazz, go to Big Willie's. Watch that basketball game. Hockey back in action. Your Utah Mammoth this weekend. Big Willie's. They'll do a little mini watch party for you. They'll hook you up with delicious food, craft cocktails, cold beers on draft, every bottle you could imagine in their coolers as well. If you just want a soft drink and to enjoy their incredible food menu, they've got you covered there. During halftime, go into the newly refelted pool tables, shoot a couple games of pool, come back. You don't have to worry about cleaning up after yourself. They'll take care of it for you. Tell them OC sent you. And, of course, if you're a fan of the rare bourbons, they have that rare bourbon selection there. They've got partnerships with Outlaw Distilleries where they have special cocktails that are available on a limited basis. It's just a fun little atmosphere to watch sports. They're going to have the watch party for the big UFC pay-per-view this weekend. Those things are way too expensive to be ordering at your house if you're not rich. So go to Big Willie's, get yourself some food. You can order yourself, your friend, your significant other, a delicious plate of food and some drinks at Big Willie's for the same price of just getting the pay-per-view for the UFC card this weekend. So go down to Big Willie's, tell them OC sent you. All right. Cy Young Awards have been handed out. It's Skubal and Skeens. Skeens was the unanimous Pittsburgh Pirate Cy Young Award winner. There's been some rumor and innuendo out there that Skeens wants to play for the Yankees now, et cetera, et cetera. Tarek Skubal, we'll see what happens with him, but it's kind of nice to see a guy who's in, I will call him like a mid-major baseball market getting this kind of love for Skeens. He's obviously, life is going pretty well for him. He's the new Tom Brady of baseball. Got the high-profile significant other.
Yeah, hopefully treating his family a little better than Tom Brady did. But yeah,
well,
in other ways, still Tom
that's
Brady.
Not a flattering comparison anymore. Here's another piece of news for all you basketball fans out there. LeBron James on the mend from his sciatica problems. He started to practice with the G League team. Guess what? Here's my conspiracy for you. This is LeBron James's way into college basketball. He realized he can't wait long enough to stay in the NBA to play with Bryce, his second son. So the only way to play with Bryce is to play college basketball. LeBron never played college basketball. All of his eligibility is intact, and now there's precedent for people going from the G League back to college basketball.
Yeah.
So LeBron is he's going to practice with the G League team. He's going to be like, I can't really get back into NBA shape here. I'm going to stay in the G League, and then just wait.
I've never won a G League MVP, so that's always been one of my goals. That we're going to hear that. Bryce,
he's going to be like, well, now I'm just going back down the ladder. I'm going from NBA MVP world champion to let's see what happens in the G League to the G League's not working out for me either. I'm going to play college basketball. Mark it down. LeBron James will be playing for USC next season.
So Bryce, did he commit to USC? For some reason, I got Arizona in my head for Bryce.
I think actually you might be right.
So he might be a Wildcat if that, obviously that's not happening. But
obviously. You don't know. If
that were a real world thing.
You don't know. Yeah, you're right.
Well, I mean, clearly it's not happening because they're only allowing guys who didn't have an NBA contract to have it NCAA eligibility. They've made clear lines for this OC that will certainly not be crossed anymore.
They will never ever be smudged. I mean, obviously I say this facetiously. LeBron is not going to get his way back into college basketball, but he is practicing with the G League. He's expected to join the Lakers lineup soon enough.
I did chuckle pretty good when I saw that on the rundown, though. So good job by you.
There's a way. There's a path for LeBron James.
Maybe Alex Jensen says, "Hey, remember we coached I coached against you a lot. Remember my NBA ties?
You want to come play? No, you better hope LeBron's not coming back to basketball because because BYU would give him like $40 million.
Yeah. Why don't you come play with AJ?
This is a hilarious thing. Have you been taking in any Maction, James?
No, not really.
Okay.
You'll have to clue me in.
I turned on the Maction last night, Buffalo versus the Chippewas, and my daughters were like, "Why are we watching football?" And I was like, "Well, that's actually a really good question." So I turned the TV off because I'm like, "I don't really need to watch this game."
You're like, "Yeah, what game do you want to play?"
They enjoy watching, like, they know Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
I'm going to fire it up. They know that it's kind of like a weekend thing.
Football day.
But at night on a Wednesday, they're just like, "Why are we watching football right now?" Anyway.
They can't buy in.
This is not news by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just something hilarious. I didn't watch it live. Got this off Twitter. UMass is once again the worst team in college football. All right. It's actually quite embarrassing for any one of us who made it through a football career of some kind that, like, I didn't get a scholarship offer even to a place like this. They are so disgustingly bad. If you're a walk-on right now, or if you're somebody who's like having to go to an FCS school or something, it's probably, you just don't want to acknowledge that UMass exists, because if a team this bad is not giving you a scholarship, you just hate yourself.
Or are you just having your reps like call them and be like, "Hey, I could make your team better.
Like, your team couldn't be any worse, so give this kid a scholarship instead." Right? They're 0-10 on the season. They were down 45-0 against Northern Illinois with 6:13 left to play. All right, they kicked a field goal. I don't know why you're kicking a field goal.
Hey, just get on the board, man.
When you're down 43, but successful field goal.
All right, no shutout. Can't shut us out. Northern Illinois.
UMass, they lit off the. You know how, like, when Utah will score, they fire the cannon, or there'll be the pyrotechnics or whatever.
So it's at UMass.
At UMass, they scored 3 points. Boom, pyrotechnics fired. Cut it to 42-point deficit.
Let's
baby.
Go.
So,
hey, we get a turnover here, and then another turnover, and then another turnover, and then 10.
With 6 minutes left to play. So let it be a reminder to all of us to no matter the circumstance, celebrate your little wins in life, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, you can't shut us out, Northern Illinois. Good try.
Nice try. We got it to within 42. Northern Illinois.
Remember 2 years ago, Deion's first year, they beat TCU, and he's doing the victory lap in the press conference. You believe it now?
Yeah.
You believe? So I was probably one of many people when they got destroyed by Oregon. They were still undefeated, ranked. And that's the, rooted in substance, not flash game. They beat them like 40-7 or whatever. I did the "You believe us now" tweet when they finally got because it was like 40-0, and when they scored, I'm like, "Hey, come on now, let's go."
I love me some Deion, but when he did that, like 2 games into a season, I was like, "Oh, don't do that."
Not even into the conference season yet.
Like, don't.
A lot of people go 3-0 in non-conference.
Do you believe now? Oh, no, actually, we don't. Not yet. And you have been at the very, very highest level of football. You should know better than this.
Yeah.
Caught up in the moment, just like UMass's pyrotechnics operator was against Northern Illinois.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Last break, and then we'll come back. We will give some tickets away. 877-353-0700. A trivia question coming for a pair of tickets to Fierce Fighting Championships at the Salt Lake City Masonic Temple on Friday night. That's tomorrow, Friday. First fight will be at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, just real quick, I feel like we should reset some of the big Utah news that we touched on, but let's reset it a little bit. So Big 12's recommending Mark Harlan to replace Baylor's Mac Rhodes on the CFP committee, not as the chair that like Rhodes was. That's the Arkansas's AD is
going to be elevated to that.
That's
the recommendation at least.
The management committee are the ones that vote on this, so not the other members of the committee, but the like chancellors and commissioners that oversee the business part of the committee. They are the ones that are going to vote on that. So Utah's AD probably back on the committee here soon after being there before. And then the junk mail we got earlier, Utah's O-line named semifinalists for the Joe Moore Award, which we've heard Spencer Fano and others on that line say publicly they really, and you said this, Jim Harding really wants this award.
I mean, every O-line in the country
so this
really
is a big
wants
deal.
this thing.
So this is a big deal.
One of 10 finalists. Let's see. Michigan's won it. They were the first back-to-back winners. It's only a 10-year-old award, so there's not a ton of history. Last year, it was Army.
And it's the big, as you've said before, maybe the biggest trophy in all of sports.
It's huge. It's like 300 pounds.
Yeah.
All right. Again, like I said, last break and a trivia question for Fierce Fighting Championship tickets when we come back. Sean O'Connell Show on ESPN 700, 92.1 FM. Got him. All right, here is my trivia question for today. A pair of Fierce Fighting Championship tickets at the Salt Lake City Masonic Temple. If you know the answer to this question, you got to go all the way back to our conversation with Gordy Chiesa. That's when we covered this, all right? 877-353-0700. He was talking about Duke and the proliferation of Duke players that are now in the NBA. How many former Runnin' Utes are currently on NBA rosters? 877-353-0700. And I'm not trying to trick you, but it might not be the exact number because somebody was in the NBA, now they're not in the NBA officially. So 877-353-0700 if you know the answer. Former Runnin' Utes currently on NBA rosters. Spence Checketts in the drive are next. He's here in studio, right in front of me, pondering, contemplating, seeing if he can get the answer.
Jakob, Kuzma, DeLon.
Not anymore.
Brandon Carlson.
DeLon's not right now on an NBA roster.
Oh, did the Knicks let him go? Huh. Well, I don't want to give it away, but did I?
But you just gave it away?
So it's not 4, it's 3.
It's 3.
All right, shout out to whoever won. Have fun at the temple.
Shout out to whoever won. Have fun at the Fierce Fighting Championship. 877-353-0700.
Is DeLon under contract anywhere? Is he playing overseas? He played for the Knicks last year and actually played pretty well. I'm surprised.
Yeah, he played well. They just never brought anyone off the bench in New York last year. So when he got to play, it was because someone was injured.
That's true. That's the Tom Thibodeau way. DeLon Wright, currently, as I pull this up, drafted by the – oh, yeah, he's not in the league. It looks like he's just staying in shape, hoping for a call. That's too bad because when the Knicks actually gave him some minutes in the playoffs, he played pretty well for them.
Here's another trivia question for you. How many NBA franchises has DeLon Wright played for since he entered the league in 2015?
What a good question. The answer is a lot.
It's a lot.
I want to say at least 7 or 8.
More.
More than 8 teams? Is it 10?
It's 9.
9 teams. Man, DeLon he's a hell of a college point guard, man. He's a really, really good player.
And by the way, I want to make sure that I make this clear. If you are a journeyman in the NBA or in any other league and you end up bouncing around and playing for 7, 8, 9, 10 different teams, but you stay in whatever that league is for 10 years.
Benching, baby.
Dude.
Yeah.
You are one of the best players in that sport on the planet, even if you're the worst guy in the NBA. 10 years in any league where it's so hyper-competitive is crazy impressive, even if you never end up being an all-star.
No, it's always been wild to me. And this is, through my prism of playing as much as I could until I actually played against pros and realized what that looked like. And then being around the league my entire life. Like if you go to a 24-hour fitness on a Saturday in like Washington, D.C. or any big city, it is full of people in that gym that swear on their life if they could get a 10-day contract in the NBA, they would show that they could play with those guys. Yeah. And you very much cannot. You would be lucky to get a shot off. Like the line between really good college players and pros, there's actually a massive gap. It's not a fine line. There's a massive gap between really good college basketball players and like legitimate NBA guys. We were talking about this with Joe Craven in the studio, how Majerus always thought Alex Jensen was going to be a 10-year NBA vet because of how cerebral he was, how skilled he was. Alex could not make an NBA roster, and he was an excellent college player, a very good overseas guy. We could go over example after example after example, but the gap between really good college players and legitimate pros in basketball is very, very large.
Have you ever watched any of the Scalabrini, the Scallenge?
No.
Brian Scalabrini plays like pickup hoops against dudes who are exactly what you're talking about, like weekend warriors, hometown heroes who think that they could have survived in the league.
Yeah.
And of course it's Brian Scalabrini.
Right.
Who everyone's just like, you're like a big pasty non-athlete.
Yeah.
And he just smokes them.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Just easily. Most of the time it's 11-0.
Yeah.
He's not nice about it.
Yeah.
He kills them. There was a time when you could go to the 24-hour fitness in Sugar House and Paul
used to be my
Millsap
jam.
and his brothers would be there.
Yeah.
Doing runs at that.
Yeah.
There are probably a lot of guys who learned the difference.
occasionally at that 24-hour fitness, because that used to be my gym, and I used to go getting runs every Saturday, like the ex-college guys would come back. I was never there when Millsap was there. I'm trying to think who the ex-college guys, like a couple of ex-Utes would come play. Johnny Bryant back in the day showed up and played. And, it's one thing if you think, you played high school basketball, you were pretty good in high school, maybe played a little AAU, and you think you're on that level. And these guys show up. First of all, and I'm sure you ran into this from time to time in the cage, like the elite guys are just built differently, number one.
Yeah.
Even a guy like John Stockton, who's 6'1", massive hands, like I remember the first time I shook Donovan Mitchell's hand. And Donovan is not one of the bigger dudes in the league. He's like 6'2". Unbelievably long arms, big padded hands.
Insanely wide shoulders.
Yes, they're just, number one, they're just built differently. And if you combine the build and the God-given athletic ability with a work ethic and skill, it's a different stratosphere, dude. It's a different atmosphere.
We just I guess 45 minutes ago, we were having this conversation with Eric Weddle where he was like, I don't know if I'm getting smaller, but he was talking about the Utah-Cincinnati game, going down and talking to the offensive lineman. He's like, how did I play with guys that were this big?
Yeah.
They are mutants. They are aliens, and it's awesome that we get to watch them run around for our entertainment.
Yeah, we continue to evolve in that direction. I can remember when I saw the first picture of Victor Wembanyama standing next to Gobert. I was like, he's 3 inches taller than Rudy. Like, what's going on?
And by the way, they added an inch on the official game programs to his height this year in San Antonio. He's taller than he was last year.
Yeah,
because he's 20 and he's still growing.
Right, and there's a kid who's playing for, I think, Kansas, who's like 7'9" or something.
Florida kid?
The Florida kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to think I was short at 5'11" because I was trying to play up, against like 6'4", 6'5" guards.
Yes.
And now it's just, if you've ever had that opportunity, I always love this as a topic. If you've ever had the opportunity where you think you're really good at your sport, and then you go up against one of those dudes that's a pro, and how quickly you're humbled and reminded, you think you're good at this, and then you actually compare yourself to somebody who's elite at it, you get humbled really, 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 really quickly.
Bring back the Pros versus Joes on the old Spike TV.
That was
what a great
show. Yeah, that was a great show.
And stay tuned for The Drive with Spence Checketts. Bryson Bianucci will be filling in for me tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Go Utes. It'll be a big one against Baylor. It's the Sean O'Connell Show on ESPN 7.